creek where Patty walked. It
Yeah.
was very interesting.
Hey guys, I just let you know I went ahead and started this live because
Okay.
I had people messaging me commenting on Facebook said they can't get it to play because I haven't started yet. So I figured I'll go ahead and start it and let the audience build up a little bit here. So
Okay.
no,
Sure.
Cool.
um,
That'll give me time to share it too.
yeah.
By the
Uh,
way, I just wanted to say hi, guys.
Let's see. Oh, it's on now. Okay. Brandon Lee Moore was asking about that. All right, I just let them know it's on now.
Hey, hey, Daniel, did you get a chance to check out those links? I mean, those little audio clips that I sent you.
No, I saw them coming through, and I was trying to hurry up and get this started, and I didn't have time to listen to them.
Play
Um.
those later.
Oh, okay, okay.
I'm still looking at the other videos, but I found basically what I was trying to tell you.
Oh, got okay. I got you. I see Baltimore's online. I sent him the link.
Hey, Baltimore, what's up, man? Where
What
is
do we?
Zach?
I don't know. What are we calling this? The Friday night chat?
Yeah, yeah, I think we went along. I think we're gonna go with the Friday night Squatch Talk Roundtable. Or later on I could title it shorter, like just the Squash
Mm-hmm.
Talk Roundtable, or just Squatch Talk. Friday night Squash Talk.
Okay.
So yeah, um,
it's a good name.
yeah, it's simple. People,
Yep.
it's yeah, kind of catchy, I guess you could say. So um, excuse me a second. All right. All right. Tell you what, you guys, if you guys want to talk amongst yourself, I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. I shared it to my group.
Well, I can't wait to talk about the Casey Hathaway disappearance.
Yeah.
That still baffles me, man.
I'm sorry.
That that story still baffles me.
Yeah, I did some research into it today. Started.
I was
And,
actually having a good conversation about that with my younger brother because he believes in Bigfoot, but he puts a different spin on it. He still thinks that it could be a bear. I says that's highly unlikely because I can't see a bear doing that. I don't.
well, yeah, there's documented cases of, and it's mainly in children that will go disappearing. For example, there was a very famous case in the state of Tennessee, here where I live, um, last year, in Maryville, Tennessee. This little boy, and this was downtown, um, was with his mother and just basically kind of disappeared. And he was found the following day, and it was amazing. Somehow his dog found him, and because the dog had left the house and stayed with that boy until the search and rescue team found him. It was an amazing story. Overnight type thing, cold weather. Um, it was just amazing. It's an amazing story.
Wow.
Hmm. I lost the live chat. I don't know what happened.
Uh oh.
You're still on here. I see you.
Yeah, but on my phone I can't pull up the live chat, and that's weird.
Yeah, hold on. Let me check and see. I'm not on. I don't have the live chat pulled open yet. I actually had part of a blog, my blog on there. I was going to read off since we were going to talk about the Casey Matthews incident.
Refresh. I think I might lose internet. For some reason, my internet's acting weird.
Uh-oh.
Cause see, it's just.
Oh wow, that is weird.
Yeah, okay, there it goes. It's on now.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, let me see what we got here. All right.
Yeah, when I looked, it only said 4 people, and I go, "There's got to be more than 4 people on there."
5 p.m. tonight, my campaign team is bringing me.
Oh wow, my advertisement. You know when you push play on a video or something?
Oh.
I got it. I'm on my phone. I got Donald Trump on there. Pretty cool.
Who do we have? We have Jimmy B's here.
Oh, yeah,
Trevor
Jimmy Blanton.
Yeah, give some shout outs.
What's up,
Angel
Jimmy?
Clinage, Chubbs. I see Chubbs all over the place on all the chats, all over.
Oh yeah, Chubbs. It sounds like you get around, buddy. Oh man.
And Whis B, whoever that is, Babs, Babs or something.
Oh, I don't see that one.
I know, but they're not here now. But I always see that person all over where I'm at.
Gotcha. Yeah, we got Jimmy Blanton in the house. Everybody, Jimmy Blanton is the host and organizer of the Harlan Cryptid, Kentucky. Yeah, the Harlan Kentucky CryptoCon. So, and that's happening. Oh man, I don't want to get my dates mixed up. Throw it out there, Jimmy, if you can, real quick. I believe it's July 8th. So, yeah, July 8th. I believe that's taking place in Harlan, Kentucky. You can go to his Facebook page and check that information out. He's got all that, all the information you need. He is announcing speakers so that he has confirmed. So, yeah, we got. Yep. Okay, I was correct. He did say it is June 8th. And if you're on social media, if you're on Facebook, Jimmy Blanton also hosts weekly podcast shows or Facebook Live interviews and discussions. You can find him on Facebook. Again, his name is Jimmy Blanton. So definitely check him out. Follow him on Facebook. And again, if you're in Kentucky and the surrounding area, or if you want to add to your event list for the 2019 year, again, go check out the Harlan, Kentucky CryptoCon, and that is happening June 8th. So, yeah, we got a lot of events going on this year, and I don't even know where else to start. Let's see, I know we have some early. I'm trying to think what's going on early in the year. We got a Parafest taking place up in Rochester, New York, and that is February 23rd and 24th. And again, that is in Rochester, New York. You can check that out. That's hosted by Ted Van Sons of Paratalk Radio. And we also have, let's see, this February. And then April 27th and 28th. If you're looking to do some camping, we got a weekend camping expedition happening right here in Virginia. The Paratalk Radio crew, and they're gathering. They got a group of people that are planning on attending the weekend camping expedition taking place right here in Virginia. And that camping expedition will be led by yours truly, moi. And that's going to be happening right here in the George Washington National Forest. So it's open invitation. This may be our first large gathering for a camping expedition taking place here in Virginia. So, and again, it's a public invitation. If you want to attend, please contact me, or you can reach Ted Van Son. He is one of the hosts of Paratalk Radio, and he's also the host and organizer of the Rochester Parafest, happening February 23rd and 24th. And then July 27th. Let's not forget July 27th in Marion, Illinois, hosted by the Southern Illinois Monster Hunters, Mr. Zach Sterrett. Yep. So again, that is July 27th in Marion, Illinois. And if you have any questions regarding that, please contact Zach Sterick. You can find him on Facebook. Also, he has his Southern Illinois Monster Hunter Facebook page as well. Oh yes, and Jimmy Blanton made a correction. You could actually find his host. He actually has it called "On the Land of the Giants." So yeah, "On the Land of the Giants" is the name of his radio podcast that he does on Facebook. So that's another way you can look him up and find him. So, and then I skipped June. Oh my, I skipped. Well, there's one other event I skipped in June. My own event. Shame on me. Yeah, June 29th, the second annual ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Con. You can find our official event page on Facebook. We do have a list of speakers already announced that is possibly subject to change to any possible additions. But right now there is 6 listed confirmed speakers. Technically, it's a lot more than that because we have the paracryptid studies with Michael Cook and Gwendolyn. So that's a duo. We have the She Squatchers. There's usually Jen Cruz and Jenna Grover, and they do have a third edition, which I believe will be attending. So there's basically 3 of them there. Then we have the North Carolina Squatch Watchers. There's a whole team right there. There's at least 4 or 5 of them. So they'll be doing a presentation together. And then everybody knows Bigfoot Bob. Alex Bob, also known as Bigfoot Bob, will be one of our main speakers. And then again from Southern Illinois, we have Zach Sterick will be one of our speakers. So make sure I'm covering all bases here. All right. Yeah, and I think that about does it. One more thing. As far as the ECBRO Virginia Bigfoot Con, if you want information regarding that, because I'm getting emails directly through my ticket website and sometimes directly through the our official website itself, people asking questions. All the information you need is on our official website. But feel free to don't hesitate to ask any questions. There is contact forms. You can reach me directly through the website. The website is virginiabigfootcon.com. So there you go. And if you want to reach out to me direct email, it's ecbro98@gmail.com. So we're going to have another amazing event. The event is just looking to be quite another success in the making. And we have a week-long camping expedition following the event. So if you're interested, come on out. It's primitive camping. Just come prepared. Bring your own food, gear, shelter, all the above. And that's going to, I'll update and add more information regarding that at a later date. All right. Let me think. Am I forgetting any other information? Does anybody know of any other events they want to plug in while we're introducing all the above?
I don't have any.
No.
Nope.
And what you got there?
Everybody knows. I can't say the person's name, but everybody knows the person says in his videos, "Dogman." He sees a Dogman. Well, this is the Dogman.
The Dogman.
Everybody, if you take notice that Bobcat Wong right here has a beard, well, when they were first airing for Duck Dynasty, he didn't quite make the cut, but now he's time. Well, all right. I guess that does it for plugins. Let's see. Tell you what, I want to throw something out there. I just thought of it came to mind real quick. A movie I've had and I've watched it. Me and my daughter just watched it for the very first time. Was Cultured Bigfoot. Has anyone ever watched Cultured Bigfoot yet?
I haven't yet.
You haven't?
Want to. I just haven't yet.
I've had the pleasure of watching it, and fortunately, he kept me in it. I think that was pretty cool of him.
Well, it's Well, the cool thing is about it. Well, my daughter recognized you. She's, oh, that's Sam. I said, yep. And
Yeah.
she was listening to what you were saying, and she
Yeah.
said, Daddy, you say the same thing. I said, yeah, that's a great mind speak alike, I guess.
Yep. Yep. I mean, it's the truth, you know.
Yep. So yeah, I
I'll
thought that was
send
pretty
you a
cool.
copy, Nikki. I've got a copy. I'll send to
Oh,
you.
that's
You
great.
can,
Thanks.
yeah, you PM me your address. I'll send it out there to you.
Yeah, actually, I was to hear everybody's intake, thoughts, and and I have to say Richter was actually pretty much on point about a lot of stuff.
He was.
Richter says some good stuff. I was
He
actually
does.
he was very clear and straight to the point, and made a lot of sense. So, but
It's
yeah,
a great documentary. Um, the best way that I can put it, it's a great documentary for people that are, especially people that are just starting to get into the Bigfoot community, and research. I mean, Bill, he interviewed a lot of the top names, and I was there with him for quite a few of those, as well as you were too, Daniel. I mean, you were there too.
oh
So,
yeah,
and I think that it's just a great documentary for newcomers.
yeah,
And there's a lot of interviews in there that a lot of people may not know, like Seth Breedlove from Small Town Monsters. I mean, he's number one in the Bigfoot community as far as putting out documentaries or movies. Um, so it's just a great documentary. I'm glad you watched it.
yeah. During I was listening to Seth Breedlove, and of course during the make of that video, he had actually mentioned at that particular time the views of his Mothman video. That it started off, it jumped up to 40,000 views real quick, and then at the time he mentioned these are all right now it's currently up to 70,000. I was like, whoa, and that was through Amazon. So his videos must be doing so. His videos are getting attention, and and then also what he goes on to say is it's not just reaching believers; it's reaching a broader audience, which that's what we're all here to do. I mean, that's what I'm here to do. Because my thing is when I hold my local lectures, my local seminars, and it's I'm that's my goal. I'm hoping to reach people that are curious, that may not quite be believers, but people that are interested enough to want to check it out. And then that way I might, I'm not an expert by no means, but with the information I want to try to throw out there that I do try to put out there, hopefully it might spark a little bit more interest into them to get them to like, well, maybe there is something out there.
Hmm.
Um, so and as Cliff Brockman mentioned in Culture Before, yeah, it's about spreading awareness. Um, just getting the word out there. Everything that we do as a whole, it brings more and more. It draws in more people, regardless of if they're believers or not. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's good stuff right there. Let's see. Well, to start off with, I know we kind of touched base, a little bit here and there in regarding the Casey Matthew incident with the 3-year-old little boy. And did I? I'm trying to remember. Nikki, do you recall? Did I read any of my blog off on the before
On the
about that?
last one, I don't
Yeah.
think so.
All
We
right.
talked about it, but I don't think you uh, read off anything from the blog.
No,
Yeah. Go ahead.
we just talked.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's several different posts about it. There's a lot of links going around. A lot of them are from different news networks and so forth, and even the some of the others in the Bigfoot community that actually step foot into the adding in their own blogs, and I myself have done so. And I shared the actual story from one of the news links, but in the beginning I added my own take on it. And I'll go ahead and start that off, and I'm gonna leave it. I'll read it off, and I'll let everybody else jump in on after that. Of course, the title is the Casey Matthews story, and in parentheses I've put Bigfoot or bear. And I go on to write. Although the story below says young 3-year-old Casey was lost for 2 days and stated he was with the bear mom, has some of us in the Bigfoot community baffled. Could a 3-year-old child not have the knowledge or awareness of what a Sasquatch even is? Could he be insinuating that a hairy biped be a bear, as we believe that Sasquatch has a great level of intelligence and knows their ways around? I strongly think there could be more. It could be a possibility or a possible connection. Excuse me. Would a bear be so kind to lead a child home? Black bears are very shy and skittish creatures. I am seriously thinking that it may have been more than a bear. And then I go on to say below is the actual story. But before I let you guys jump on that, there's a statement that Bill Brock had actually mentioned too, and I got to think about that. This could be a strong possibility as well. Keep in mind he's a 3-year-old little boy, and he was lost. He might have been all alone, and as a lot of young children create imaginary creatures, and that's one thing he mentioned. He could have been having an imagination of pretending he was with somebody. That's a good, very, very good possibility. But then again, I don't know. In the statement of the story, it says the police had found a little boy tangled in some brush. So I don't know. What do you guys think on that?
I still want to know more.
What's that?
I still want to know more. I want to know if they follow up on any investigations. I want to know if anybody goes later and if there's anything more that the child has said this last week or so in regards to that. I don't think they're ever going to tell us. I think they're going to remain private with it. For the kids' sake, I think they're not going to tell us either way. They're just going to let this lie the way it is and let us assume either way, because you got to remember the Bigfoot community is going to think it's a Bigfoot, but everybody else who doesn't believe in Bigfoot, it was a bear.
Yeah.
So it's just everybody's going to have their own take on that. We're never going to know unless 15 years from now this kid comes out and says it really was a Bigfoot,
Right. Yeah. Yeah, then again, the thing is you can go back and remember that time,
Right.
maybe, or that could be something that might haunt his mind, but he may not know where the heck that came from, at later on in life. But it is stated that, in the stories that he said he hung out with a bear for 2 days. I think the grandmother's writing, God sent him a friend to keep him safe. God is good. Miracles do happen. That was part of the story that got added in there, stated from, actually, not the grandmother, Casey's aunt, Brianna Hathaway. So,
and that's the most important thing, right? Out of this whole thing is that little kid survived some cold temperatures and he survived. However he did it, and that's the main thing to take away from this, is whether it was a Squatch or a bear or divine intervention, it happened. He survived at 3 years old wasn't he bear?
So was the FBI brought in of supposed child abduction, and that's why they were brought in? Why was the FBI brought in to a missing child's case? You would think that local authorities would be able to handle that very well. I don't think FBI really goes out much on missing person cases that I know of. I understand the situation, but it's protocol that they don't go out on missing person cases, from what I understand.
Well, they could if they suspect foul play. If they had some type of, during the initial day he was gone, had a reason to believe there could have been foul play, they sure enough could have come in and taken over.
Well, he was playing with 2 other kids in his grandmother's backyard, and he went missing about 1:45 in the daytime. And the 2 little boys had came inside, and the Casey did not. So the family searched for about 45 minutes before calling the police. And then the next morning is when the real search and rescue and volunteers were showing up, and they found him almost in the same areas where he went lost, entangled in briars, and he was yelling for his mommy. But the search and rescue team had to cross water to get to him, which I find it's kind of odd. How did he get across that water in the first place? And he was found wet, but he wanted to hug his sister and watch Netflix. That was is what he wanted to do, which I thought was neat.
I still say it's a miracle in itself that the boy is actually here alive. And I just want to say something real quick about it. I'm going to change what I thought about before. My mind is still open to this. I have a younger brother who's like a Steve Irwin. If anybody doesn't remember who Steve Irwin was, but before he passed away, he lived in Australia and he knew every kind of wildlife that was out there. But my brother is like into that stuff, so I kind of asked my younger brother. I says, "What's your input on this story?" And I liked what he said because he puts a different spin on it. And he says that it very well could have been a mama bear, like to try to protect, because like there is small incidences like where like a gorilla. I don't know if everybody remembers on the news where a gorilla tried to save a boy, but they thought that the gorilla
was going to attack him and they shot him.
That boy, but I'm with my brother on that. I think that gorilla tried to save that young boy. But here's what I want to say. I don't think that we know Steve Irwin. If he was still here, he definitely try to find that out. But in general, I think all of us would love the story of Bigfoot, because that's a more loving story. But it would be good to know that if a mama bear might have saved that boy, but it's still stipulations, but it's still a possibility that it could be a mama bear or it could have been a Bigfoot.
Yeah,
you never know. Only that boy will know, and maybe when he gets older he might share his story more and then try to find out more answers. But the possibilities are endless. But there is some bears out there that are well known to love on humans, just like there is with female gorillas, like Coco the gorilla who actually fell in love with Robin Williams. And Coco the gorilla had, like, there was a documentary where she had tears and she cried when they gave her a cat, and the cat passed away, and she cried and she cried and she cried. So that shows that maybe we don't know everything there is about wildlife.
Yeah.
But I think in all wildlife that they are smart. Even some bears are smart. So it could be a Bigfoot, could be a bear. I like to think it's a Bigfoot. I still think it's a Bigfoot, but it could be a bear. So that's just my thought. But it's still a miracle in itself that the boy's, still alive. So maybe God, that has to be God interviewing. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
It is a miracle.
Well, Angel Clintage made a good, interesting statement here. She goes on to say, "I like to see someone ask him," talking about the little boy, "which one of his toys looks like the bear that was with him." Yeah, and of course Robin Griffin says, "Yeah, that's a really good question, because that's how a psychologist used to identify, with a young child, what happened during a certain incidents and so forth." So,
I wonder if you all know that at least one Bigfoot group has contacted this family. There's absolutely no way that somebody hasn't. You would think so,
Sassy Sasquatch girl said, "Did social services come to find out why the adults weren't watching him?" That's a good question. Yeah,
good one.
Yeah, I mean, for him to go disappearing, he's 3 years old. You don't go let your child out in the backyard, especially if you got woods connected to the yard, and and knowing that there could be, could be, I don't know, anybody in the right mind, unless the little boy snuck out somehow. I could see that, but
Can I
I don't.
say one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
I'm starting to think a little bit differently here in the past couple of days about the stuff about Bob Gimlin, but everybody knows what's going on between him and the other guy. But anyways, this reminds me of that because I'm starting to think: is it a possibility that this mother or grandmother? Is it a possibility that they might have like made a lie up because now we're seeing that people are making lie after lie after lie just for fame and fortune over Bigfoot or fame and fortune for just anything to get their name out. So I'm thinking, could this be a made up propaganda thing? That's my question.
Sure.
Well, the other
That's an
thing too,
yeah.
yeah, the other thing too is, well, if that was the case, what do they have to gain by all this? Besides, you know, a name and a story made up, put in the news.
Well,
It's not getting them nowhere. I mean,
it's getting them. Yeah, actually, it is. I mean, we're talking about them, so they're getting their 15 minutes of fame, and maybe that's
Yep.
what they're after. That's a good, valid point there, Bobcat. Nice bringing that up.
It could be like a money thing.
No, I
well,
don't
Yeah,
think money.
no, I don't think money either, Bobcat. I'm thinking, their names now spread all over the internet. Everybody's talking about them.
yeah, yeah, I can see that.
Yep.
I don't
Huh.
think they would use the kid if I think that would be if they had used one of themselves and hid themselves out there or something, an adult, somebody older, but a 3-year-old kid, I don't think they would risk that. And the
No.
parents weren't even involved, right? It was the grandparent.
Oh,
Yeah.
the aunt. Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I think they just weren't paying attention to the kids out there in the backyard thinking they were going to be fine. But 3 years old, I'm sorry, that's too young to be left alone.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Huh. All right.
If I was a social worker, I would. If I was a social worker, I would stepped in and actually did more intensive. Like if I was a social worker, I would step in and do some real work with that family, try to find out why this boy went missing, and is there something behind it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure they did. I'm very sure they did, but that's all privacy because that's a minor, so that we would never
Exactly.
find out of
Yeah.
any of that stuff. But you better
Yep.
Yep.
believe if there's a missing child, they're gonna want to know why. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that's truly none of our business at this point. You know what I mean?
Nice point.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Hmm. Anybody on the live chat, if you guys have any more questions or anything else you want to throw in on that particular subject, please feel free. We are watching the live chat. Trying to think what else we got here.
What's the live chat think? I mean, I wonder if they think it's a bear. And he could be saying it's a bear, but what if it's a coyote or whatever? The thing is that the property backs up to Croatoa National Forest, which is known to have bears, and they actually had some spotted recently in the town of New Bern, which is pretty close by. It is on the coast, which is um, I'm used to the mountains like Daniel, and we're used to seeing bears up here, and hearing of them on the coast of North Carolina, it's kind of unheard of until January 22nd or 24th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hmm. Didn't know. Oh, it's I don't know. Overall, I have to say it's. I don't know if compelling is the right word. It is a fascinating story and situation. It's good thing that the little boy is okay.
Praise
Um,
the Lord.
Hey Sam, did
Yes,
they
ma'am.
say how old the cousins were?
No, I've tried to do as much research as I could today, but I didn't find that out. The most interesting thing to me is that the boy was found entangled in briars,
mhm.
which are sharp, and then they had to cross some kind of water to get to him. I mean, a 3-year-old crossing water by himself is just very hard for me to believe it. And he was 2'4". He's 2'4".
See, that's
So
interesting because the story that I have, see, I think wording is going to be different, or bits and pieces of information is going to be added in one story that may not be in another. Because
true.
I know the story that I have added in my blog. Um, yeah, I don't recall it mentioning anything to do that. See, that's interesting.
I
Mm-hmm.
wonder if there's a way to get that police report.
Yeah.
Again, I think kind of like what Nikki said. If it's
Yeah,
pertaining
minor.
to a minor, you're not going to get that information. Only family members. So,
Yeah.
um, hmm. All right, what's we got here on the live chat? Robin Griffin says, "Well, if you're in the Bigfoot community, I think first response goes right to Bigfoot. But I'm like Nikki. I want a little bit more detail. I don't have a couple of I don't have a couple of questions. How old are the cousins? Stuff like that. Whatever.
Yeah.
I guess I do have a couple questions. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Some information we really don't know. And then okay. And then Robin Griffin. Oh, she just added something else. If that grandmother was like my grandmother, a few bears in the forest, or in the backyard mean absolutely nothing, especially if you're grown up in the forest. Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. I mean, but yeah, at the
Well,
same time, we got to consider a bear is a bear. They're also considered they're wild. A black bear, they usually won't mess with you unless they feel threatened.
yeah.
In most cases, yeah. Um, hmm.
Yeah, black bears are, Daniel knows, they're real skittish of humans. I mean, they will, first scent of a human, they're gone the other way. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's 9 times out of 10. Um, I don't, I don't hear of many bear attacks. Do you, Daniel? In the
Um,
South here? I mean,
Actually, when it comes to black bears, it's
yeah,
a very, very rare thing. It is very
yeah,
rare. There was one bear attack that happened, and it's only because that bear got shot and wounded by a hunter, and the bear actually circled around and was actually stalked that hunter. And
yeah.
so, if you're gonna bear hunt, if you're gonna, you better shoot and kill. So because that's what does that. I've heard of other similar stories in other locations, but that happened about maybe 6, 7 years ago, maybe yeah,
Mm-hmm.
about something like that, give or take. Um, so yeah, I mean bears, black bears especially, yeah, they're not gonna bother you. They don't want nothing to do with you. They're gonna go the other way. They normally tend to avoid humans. At all possible. If all
Mm-hmm.
possible. So uh, see,
Well,
even Jimmy Bland says down in Kentucky, bears in his area usually haul butt the other direction when they
oh
see
yeah,
humans. So yeah, I mean that's every encounter I've had with bears. By the time I see them, they're already heading the other direction. Most of my sightings of bears, uh, been from out in the woods. They've been pretty distant. I've had a
distant.
couple that were pretty close. I mean, I'm talking about 20, 30 yards close.
Yep.
Um, like I had one that was in one of my camp areas, and it was actually coming out of a tree, but I didn't notice it right away till I heard, you could hear the sound of scuffling. And I looked over; it's parts of the bark coming off the tree from the bear climbing down it, trying to hurry up and get down. And it wasn't a big bear, but it was, by the time it dropped down and made a thump, it took off like lightning. Bears could run pretty fast if they have to. So, but yeah, I don't, yeah, so yeah, just in my experience with bears, yeah, they usually go the other way. I will tell you this one. There was one particular time I was driving down a forest road, and it was actually on the coal road. And when I saw it go across the road, I was like, "What the heck?" It was running fast, and what I thought I saw, and this sounds crazy, I thought it was a black cow, like a black Angus cow, because it was fairly decent size, and it was running. And until I got a better look at it, I eased up. I was like, "Holy crap, that's a bear!" I pulled over and started chasing after him. And luckily,
Crazy.
somewhere in the far distance, he actually did stop, and he kind of get up on a stump and turn was facing looking at me, but he was broadside with his head turned towards me. I was probably over 75 yards. I had a good distance on him. So if he started coming towards me, I wasn't too far from my vehicle at the time. So, but yeah, I did that. I only chased after him because I wanted to get a good picture of him. So, question is, I don't know if I would ever do that to a Bigfoot though. I'm not sure how I would react when it came to a Bigfoot, but so.
Well, let's talk about topic two, which I was finally got to see Russell Cord and Bob Gimlin set the story straight. Which I'm proud of Bob. I mean, at his age, it's sad that he has to do something like that at his age. Um, but I wasn't aware of M.K. Davis um, almost fabricating a story in a sense, is the way I take it. Down to the rifle, which is sad.
That's an interesting one there because I want to be careful on that one. I really do, only for the because um, I know in the Russell Court and Bob interview there when they were sitting there doing their Facebook Live and Russell was presenting everything Russell was presenting to Bob everything that Russ knew about regarding what was being put out there from MK. And I'm not sure if every area was covered, but I don't know.
How can you refute Bob Gimlin? I mean, he was there. I mean,
Yeah,
it's almost I don't know. It's really sad. I mean, that's just my opinion on it. Um, I don't know M.K. Davis that well or anything. I'm sure he's a great guy. But I think he's got this one wrong. I mean, you know,
A lot
it's
of people do.
yeah,
yeah,
There's just a handful that follow him, and yeah, he can manipulate a photo like no man's business, But
yeah,
unfortunately, we will never know that his information is correct because of of what he does, of how he takes the photos. And can't you can take any photo, I've said this before, and you can manipulate it enough to p- pull out anything you want from that photo. You can
yeah,
change it, you can make it turn different colors, you can have a face come out in a tree bark, you can do whatever you want. And it just all the witnesses aren't even saying what he's saying.
yeah,
yeah,
He's got that old guy who has that rifle or whatever, but Gimlin himself said that
yeah,
that rifle wasn't shot over there, and it was destroyed or it got burned
a
in a
yes,
fire.
fire. Yeah,
yes,
a
Yep.
fire and destroyed. So, I mean, and the way Bob presents it, I mean, I believe him. I believe him,
yes, yes,
Yeah.
you know,
yep,
and I don't know if Patterson somewhere down the line hoaxed Bob, okay, by doing something underhanded. I don't know that. Nobody really knows that. What if there was a dude in the suit? Maybe DeHinden did change the face because it had a man's face in there. Now, to me, that's not likely. I think Patty's probably one of the best likeness of what I would call a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
I don't see it being a suit because of how form fitting and muscle you can see, and because
Yeah.
of all the testing done on that. So, I mean, I'm still only about 90% real, 10% fake on it
mm-hmm,
myself, because I don't like the bottom of the feet. I don't like the way they look. And I know there was lime deposit out there,
Yeah.
but I still don't like the way those feet look and the face. Okay, that face. Now, did DeHinden or whoever change, alter that face? What's the real face? Is it like that imagery that we have? That one person who took all the hair off of Patty?
Yeah, I'm
You know,
familiar
is
with
it
it.
something more like that? I don't know.
Well,
But
what I took, Nikki, out of this whole thing was Bob Gimlin stated that Bob Hieronymus was not in that was not Patty. So I like that.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Bob said himself, um, and there really nobody else that I know of has come forward except Bob Hieronymus and stated that they've been in a suit. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just thought that
No,
was
that's
really
okay.
neat. Yeah,
Yeah. No,
continue.
I
You're
mean
making great points.
all of that makes sense, you know. That's why I'm at
Yeah.
my 90%. It's because there's more facts that go towards that was a real Bigfoot that they saw crossing that creek that day. And uh, it was just an amazing event that happened with even that camera they had and got that footage. Today, we have cameras that are high definition and we can't catch that again. We have not caught that, you
Yeah.
know, and even the ones that have, i.e., the Freeman footage or Independence, you know, we're
Mhm.
always gonna say, nope, that's fake. You know, that's not real. And somebody will always have something to pull out of it. That's just the way it's gonna be. But to me, that's still fun, you know. To me, I still want to see
Yeah.
that footage and I want to make my judgment. We always have to remember that I have a lot of friends in the Bigfoot community who I believe have seen one. And that's what keeps
Mhm.
me going. You know, there are people I find credible, and until something's proven that they're not credible, then I will believe their story of them running into one while they were camping or finding one in somewhere. You know, I mean, whatever the circumstance is we're going to keep doing this. It's going to keep on going and going, and there's always going to be people trying to come up with their own stories.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. And
Cause
I'm just gonna say just a quick spin. I'm gonna say a different. I'm gonna put a different spin on what I had to say about the Gimlin thing. But can you guys hear me good?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I got to say. Number one, the Bigfoot the Bigfoot community is huge. Okay. I respect everybody and anybody who is in the Bigfoot community who or who believes. But I give MK Davis a lot of respect because he does a lot of great work and detail, and he puts it out there for free, and he's not asking for money or begging for money. Now, Bob Gimlin, I have a lot of respect for that man too because he's at the center of this too. So, to put a positive spin on it, I look at them both, as icons and heroes. But if they're gonna keep bickering about things, um, that's why I said, like, the story about the boy. Sometimes people use an opportunity to gain, and you'd be amazed at what people want. It could be simple as just somebody saying, "Oh, I'm doing this because I got more friends than you, or more followers than you, or more likes than you." It could be for money, it could be fortune and fame. Um, and about Patty, I don't think that there's a chance that there could be a person because looking at it, to me, there's no evidence of fakery at all. But now I will say this: there's things about Gimlin that I think, and the reason why I'm going to say this is because I respect my government, but then a part of me don't because they've hid facts about life out there. Our government keeps hiding things from us. They don't want us to know that there's aliens. They don't want us to know that there's life out there. They keep covering and covering and covering. They don't want us to know that there's Bigfoot when they did. Back in 1975 in the Seattle, Washington Atlas, they put Bigfoot, Sasquatch. But now try to find that atlas. You can find it online. You have to find it. You could. It's actually in colleges. So, and our government, the Army Corps of Engineers, did actually say that Sasquatch was actually real, but now the government don't talk about it. So, just like with aliens, the government keeps on hiding stuff. But getting back about Patty and Bob Gimlin, um, I still have the utmost respect for him because he was there, he was part of it, and he is a big part of it, and he's the guy that started all this. So if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't maybe be friends. We wouldn't know about Bigfoot. We wouldn't know that there's other life out there besides us. There's, it's just to think that there's Bigfoots. I mean, are they more human? Are they ape? I would love if they were more human because that would make me feel even more special that there's other creatures out there that are close to me. I wish that other people would sort of view it as that because we have one world and we're here for this world for a reason, and God has made so many things, and I still think that God has made it to where I don't think that He wants us to know a lot of stuff too. But it's just amazing what creatures are just out there that God made. But that's
Right.
on it.
Yeah, there's a couple of things I want to make mention here. First of all, let me start off by mentioning, before Patty, besides the people that's had there's people that's had their own sighting, which for them, at one point, if they were believers or not before then, having their own sighting is what got that started for a lot of people into getting involved with doing the search and exploring and looking for answers. But then again, it's the Patterson footage that kind of opened up the eyes to many people, and 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 the Patterson footage is basically the start of opening up an actual community over a period of time. Over the years, a community slowly started to develop. Yeah, it wasn't online because internet didn't exist then. So but over a period of time, people came together, and as the internet developed, yeah, forums started to develop, and then the word started spreading like wildfire. And now today we have established Facebook forums groups, like we have live podcasts like we're doing tonight, and so forth. And we're all in it for answers. A lot of us do it because we enjoy doing it. We love getting out in the woods. It's part of our life and our enjoyment, our pastime. And down to the Patterson footage. I'll tell you what. One thing that bothers us, with what MK is doing, I agree with you, Bob, that you know he does great work at what he does by enhancing and all that, clearing a lot of stuff up when it comes to imagery. But I again, Bob Gimlin was the man at the site. That man was the witness to what he saw and what got filmed that we all see today. Well, what is going on is what I'm seeing, and correct me if anyone else sees different, but people now, from what Mr. MK is putting out there, people are gathering a different story. Now they're looking at Bob as a liar. And that's what's upsetting to me. And to me, in my opinion, again, that's kind of disrespectful because again, in everything that MK is putting out there, it's all speculation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a story that's being developed based off of pictures because someone said something to this person and blah 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 blah. So they started using these pictures, and this got put together. And with Bob trying to make his statement and trying to set the record straight, yeah, Bob has a clear following, and a lot of people stand behind Bob because, in my opinion, Bob was a man there. He made a statement, and why believe something different? You know what I mean? That's where I'm
I
getting
think
at.
most of the community believe in Bob and believe in Patty and believe in just what he said, his statements about what happened that day. So you're gonna have these little factions that are gonna try to make something else out of it. And I know MK did his due diligence trying to prove what he's found, but it doesn't matter because I think the majority of the community is going to believe in Bob and what he says was truly happened there, and that's the end of it. I mean, you can get a picture and you can say that's bloody blood right there and guts, and that there's Bigfoot buried up there, 5, 7 of them, however many. But there's no proof. There's nothing. It's a story. It's a storyline that I don't find to be true at all.
Absolutely. And Bob also made a couple statements there which make a lot of sense. Tire marks, tire marks. Those are those are sand ridges from the water receding.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
what they claimed to be a puddle of blood, excuse me, was leaves that got settled on in patches. Because anybody, I could
Mud,
account
yeah.
for that for myself. Out in my research area, got the North River. The North River is a very long river. It runs through a lake, continues out on the back of the lake, and splits into other rivers and joins in with other rivers later, further down the road. But the one particular part of this one river I am very highly familiar with. Throughout the year, it flows real good, very heavy, and it's not that deep. It's only about 2 or 3 feet deep in some areas. But a lot of times, a portion of this river dries up, and the river is mainly a rock bed. It's not but rocks, but you got sandbars in it. And when the water settles, and just like a lot of creeks, a dried up creek, you're gonna see sand and leaves setting in there. And I see the same thing in the riverbed. You got patches of sand and patches of leaves and bare spots, and then you got most of it's all rock. Like I said, it's a rock bed. So I could see and I could and relate to what Bob is saying when there is actually leaves there. What color? We all know what color leaves are. Leaves are usually mainly orange, brown, and then sometimes they become a grayish, moldy color. Over a period of time. But so yeah, the water was down. That area is usually pretty much flowing, but the water was down, and you got it was basically a big giant sandbar. So, and it makes a lot of sense when he said their ridges, not tire marks, they were ridges from the way the water receded and sloped down. So
Mhm.
anybody that's familiar with riverbeds should actually understand this. So to me, that makes a lot of sense. So, uh,
He's really trying to make the point that you see a bloody dog print in one of the photos, and uh, I just think it's possibly pareidolia, you know,
yep.
matrixing of that. And then he colorized it, of course, so he could make it any color he wanted to. Could be purple for all we know. Um,
Well, actually,
I
Mike
just don't see
Patterson,
that.
Bigfoot Wilderness on the live chat made a very good point too that supports what Bob said too. October 20th. What year? What time? What season is it? That time of year?
Hmm.
Fall. It's fall. The leaves
Yeah.
out there. We know different parts of our country. The seasons hit or act a little. Hit a little sooner than other parts of the country. The leaves were falling off the trees. There was a lot of leaves on the ground. So there you go. It was fall. Makes sense. So
Yep.
um, so but
And
I think
I
I'm
yeah.
sorry, guys.
Oh no, sorry. So a lot of what Bob is saying, there's a lot that supports what Bob says too. So if we take the time to really look it over and listen, yeah, there's a lot that supports what Bob is telling us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
And
um,
I kind of hate what some people are doing. It's like the Bigfoot, part of the Bigfoot community is trying to change their story and spin it and put their own spin on it. I hate
yep,
that they're doing that because, okay, let's just talk about the blood and what MK is saying versus what Bob Gimlin is saying. If people are trying to say that Bob is hiding something, if Bob was, then why would the video be out to begin with? Okay, and why is Bob still talking about it? So Bob has nothing to gain and he has nothing to hide. That's the way I see it. And even if the government would, let's say there was a man there from the government, they could have hit stuff. But did Bob? No, because he was part of that, and his film is out there. So, if people want to talk bad about Bob, then we would have never seen this video. It'd be banned. It would be in the in the Pentagon at the White House. Banned. But
Well,
that's
yeah.
what.
Another thing to support that, what you just said, Bob Gimlin is not making no money off of this. Let me share a little information. You know, I had actually reached out to Bob's, real good friend and manager that helps schedule his events that he appears to. And everybody knows Russell Cork, and I've been in communication with Russell a couple times, and one of the times was to ask about obtaining him and Bob to come attend my event. Well, I said, what would it cost? And what he laid out there was just enough to cover his airfare, lodging, and meals. They weren't asking for nothing extra, you know. So they're not trying to make no profit off of this deal. They know that people want Bob. Bob has become a celebrity out of this, but by no means do I see them trying to make money off of this. You know, um, sometimes there's different fees and funds that people had raised where Bob had maybe um, obtained fees and funds. But the thing is, he's not out after money. Yeah, he's made that statement before. So just like at the one outing where he was supposed to appear to speak and they didn't let him, and there was a fee that was supposed to get paid to him. It never got paid to him, but Bob said he wasn't worried about it. That ain't why he was there. It was to celebrate part of his anniversary.
Right.
So I'm not going to get into all that, but that's just a little bit of tidbit information that's more or less on Bob's defense. So, see, hold on. Yeah, and that's Darkstone Bender made a good point. Making a little money on Bigfoot doesn't make you a liar. Anyway, yeah, that's true. Yeah, Bigfoot has became a worldwide form of entertainment. It's been a brand. The name Bigfoot has been branded on all kinds of product. I've seen on tractor trailers, mud flaps to whatever you name it. Look at the name Yeti has become a name brand on coolers and so forth. They use a name as money, but for us that are involved in doing the research, hosting events, I can tell you now, my first event, I didn't make no money. What I made on ticket sales, I owed that to people, so I didn't really make out on nothing. Um, so it's not a big money bracket. Although those who have been invested and been doing this for years, yeah, they're well established. They're more organized. Some of them do make good money off of it. I like bringing the people together. I found it as much as of a headache, and it's so aggravating sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, but when the event actually takes place, it's mind blowing. It's like, wow, look at everybody showing up. Look at what everybody's coming here to listen to something. They want to hear stories, and people. That's what it's all about. People meeting new people, and you learn of new stories from others that come in there. They want to share stuff. That's what happened on my first event. When I was at my booth, I had people coming up to me asking me questions, and I love answering questions. People sharing stuff that they heard or they may have experienced, weren't sure what they heard. I've had people tell me some, quite a few things, and I like that. And I want people to be able to come out, uh, bring the community together. You know, excuse me. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and yeah, like Jimmy said, it's worth it. After all the hard work that you put into organizing and informing these events, it's worth it in the long run. So, but so yeah,
And
that's my 2 cents.
and it's still a shame. I'm going to say one more thing about this. It's a shame. It's a real shame that people are still trying to say that that Bob put a person in a suit. That cannot be a suit. You clearly see muscles. I mean, even to this day, to get a suit like that, you're talking thousands of dollars, maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Back in those days, you did not have that technology. So it's just a shame that people are still trying to say that but just a shame. And I wish that people would acknowledge Bob more, because to me, he's a hero and he's an icon. Um, and one more thing I wanted to say. um, MK Davis tried to say, and there's other people that's trying to put a spin on it, that it was a massacre and Patty was shot and there was 4 or 5 more shot, I believe. But number one, if Patty was shot, I don't think that she would have looked back at the camera. I think that she would either attack or run. And
Yeah,
she was walking very leisurely, like nothing was afraid. If somebody's shot and somebody shoots an animal, the animal is gonna run. So personally, I don't believe that she was ever shot. I
yeah,
and I don't think that Bob would shoot one. Uh, our government probably would shoot, but there's stories of our government shooting one in Afghanistan. But that's still a story. So do we know for sure? No.
yeah, yeah. You're right. Unlike the Patterson footage, we have a video and we have a witness that's alive till today that's been sharing that story. And the other things that got thrown in there, like you said, people putting their own twist, they're adding to it. They're adding to it, and they weren't even there. That's what's aggravating to me. I said, why even do this? People are really twisting a lot of stuff around. They want to say, oh yeah, if you watched, yeah, trying to say, oh, you can see the flash of a gunshot. And Bob said there was no shots fired from either him or Roger. So where are they getting these gunshots that were fired at Patty? That's another one I heard, and I was like, people got to stop adding to it when they weren't even there, unless you were there and witnessed everything that took place. In my opinion, leave it alone. Leave it alone and let Bob have his story. Let Bob, because Bob was there, Bob was a witness, and that video footage is released regardless of who released it from back then till now. We have all these copies that we get seen, the clippings. It doesn't matter how many copies there are made of it. People are going to download it. Like, I even have it downloaded on my computer, you know, and so whatever. I mean, it is what it is. And I think people should respect Bob enough, again, not to be trying to make it out more than what it was.
And oh,
No, go ahead. I'm done.
just one more thing, just um, and if that was a pool of blood, that's impossible. That is really impossible, because to have that much blood, you basically have to take 4 or 5 Bigfoots and slice their necks and pile them there to have that much blood seep out. To
Well,
shoot,
that's not even the worst part, Bob. Because you know
yeah,
what? Once they're dead, blood stops flowing. And he
exactly,
stated that they were buried and then they had to be moved.
yeah,
So that's where all the blood came from. That's impossible. The blood would have stopped flowing
Yep,
yeah,
after they were dead.
yep,
So
you're
it
right.
does not make any sense.
Yeah, anybody that understands the process of taphonomy, which I have spoken on that in the past, you got I'm not going to get into all that, but yeah, there is a process when the body dies, all the body little functions shut down. And what happens to the blood? It all comes into one's place and settles like a pool.
Yeah.
And then, so how long was the process from when they according to their story, this made up story?
According,
Yeah. If those
we
bodies
don't
were
know that.
buried
I don't know
for
that.
over 2 or 3 days, those bodies are already going to start becoming rigid, so, and the blood's going to dry up. So, you know, so, there was something else I got to throw in there real quick. Oh yeah, another thing too. If a gunshot was fired at Patty, if Patty was shot, looking at that video footage, wouldn't we see a wetness? Even in that old video footage, I think we would have seen a scene of blood or wetness coming from her. So I think, yeah, I don't believe that there was. Yeah, I agree with Bob. I believe what Bob said, that there was no one shot nothing. So,
And the reason why I said about that pool of blood, because when I was young, I went on a lot of hunting trips with my dad, and I had to watch him. I didn't like seeing it, but my dad would show me how to gut the gear, how to gut a deer, and so if you gut 5 Bigfoots, you would have a puddle of blood, but still you wouldn't have a whole lot of blood. You would have a little bit. And for somebody to say there's a pool of blood that big, that no, nope. You'd have to probably have 20 Bigfoot bodies to produce that much, and that'd be almost impossible too.
yep. Um, yeah, I just messaged Sam to ask where he went. I don't know where he's at.
I tried to too. I don't know. He sent me something, but I won't play, so I don't know.
Oh, huh. Let me check something here.
Come back on, Sam. Where the hell are you? It's Friday night.
Baltimore just got my. I think Baltimore might come in and join us. Let's see. All right. Well, Sam has. It doesn't show he's seen my message, so I don't know what he's doing.
Maybe he just
So,
lost his internet or something.
yeah. Well, that was interesting. That was actually a good session right there. The other thing what we might get into here, I'm gonna wait and see if Baltimore jumps in here. Is talking about Bigfoot in the cold weather, and for those who watched my Squatch thought of the day about Bigfoot in the cold, um, basically when I did that, I used my blog with that as you see, but I was trying to change it up a little bit by addressing it to a primate. Those who understand primates know they live in a much warmer climate, and basically that presentation that was basically more addressing to a skeptic or a non-believer, and to better show them why a primate could exist or adapt into our environment. Which we live in a much colder environment than the rainforest or tropical forest or whatever, how you want to look at that. So, and then of course, like I said, I used the mountain gorilla because the mountain gorillas live in a very high, severe cold environment. And so a mountain gorilla compared to Sasquatch. I know Sasquatch, and I was trying to be careful because people believe that there's a lot of people that believe Sasquatch is human. Well, would mean you survive in their environment, in a mountain gorilla's environment? Would mean you survive if we stayed continuously daily without clothing out in the severe cold? I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at that. So, so yeah, I was using that there. Let me read for those who may not have read. I have a blog site, ecbro.wordpress.com. And my most recent blog, Can Bigfoot Survive Winter? Well, like I said, I used my blog in my thing, as I mentioned. And I'm going to go ahead and read my blog and let everybody listen to my blog, and then we can get into talking about this. As most mammals that go into hibernation, they must first fatten up with many calories by putting on more fat while they survive on a third of their body fat as their heart rate drops and they go into an almost dormant state. On the other hand, many animals will simply migrate towards a more warmer climate. Now, North America is a vast place. It is like saying, could they survive in Asia? It's essentially nonsensical to ask. John McKay gave a pretty good complete answer, but I feel more compelled to share the following as well. Gorillas, specifically mountain gorillas, are the most cold adapted out of all extinct apes. I think they handle. I think they'd handle anywhere that doesn't freeze intensely for sustained periods of time. Per the location John already mentioned, I already I honestly think dietary requirements are more of a barrier to the snowy areas that purely the temperature. They could gather together for warmth, body heat, or find a cave. It would probably require some behavioral adaptation. If they had a human who knew the region and survival tactics well with them that they trusted, I think they could be remarkably successful providing they could find food. Gorillas have a massive dietary requirement. It would need to be an evergreen area with lush vegetation. One would likely favor the Pacific Northwest for that reason. However, there are several locations underestimated here on the East Coast that could sustain such beings. Imagine, imagine over generations if a small human colony will live side by side with them and slowly influence them over the generations to adopt shelter and tool usage. Imagine. Think Bigfoot. If a large mountain gorilla is capable of surviving the cold temps, there is simply a clever and logical illustration as you just read above. And key mentions cave dwelling and other shelters, groups, gathering groups together for the body heat. And on another note, I really don't care if you think or believe Bigfoot was a human because it's no different than me and you being butt naked out in the severe cold with just hair covering our body. We could not survive as a Squatch or a mountain gorilla would. Think about it. All right, so let me go back. There's one part I want to mention there. See, yeah, just on mountain gorillas alone, as it stated, that they require a large or heavy, you know, requirement for dietary. Talking about food, they require a lot of calories, and I use that in my Squatch thought of the day because let's think about Sasquatch. Um, I know Jeff Meldrum, the late Dr. John Bitternagel made these statements, and they make a lot of sense. In order to survive, they must be able to obtain or have a large calorie and protein intake in order to survive. And we're talking about a Sasquatch on say 500 to 1,000 pounds, about 7 to 8 feet tall on average. Okay, and which I believe that we have our environment, our ecology has enough to provide for them. Um, Now we don't know how much of a struggle that is for them at the same time. Yeah, I mean they are. It's believed that they must be natural survivors, good hunters. It's safe to say that we believe they are highly intelligent beings. So over a period of time, they have come to learn to survive. They know they have a routine that we don't understand, that we don't know of. We could always assume all we want. Um, so with that being said, think about something possibly with other claims that are being put out there. A Sasquatch exceeding to extreme heights. I'm not going to mention numbers. I think you guys know where I'm going with this. How is it possible for anything much larger, anything over 10 feet tall, 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000 pounds, first of all, not being seen, you know, um, the point I'm getting at is I don't see the logical scientific possibility of something 15 to 20 feet tall surviving. So it's more logical that it's likely that a large primate of some sort, between averaging up to 8 feet tall, survives enough on his own. But again, I do believe that they may have a struggle throughout the year. Maybe mainly this time of year. Just like a lot of apex predators, like a bear and a mountain lion. A lot of those. A lot of bears do hibernate. Here on the East Coast, I can tell you, black bears don't always hibernate. They do go on the move. They have been seen on the move. They don't, like I said, they don't always hibernate. Um, but they do. They still take in. They know the time when the cold weather is approaching. They will grub out. They will fatten themselves up. Because they know the food becomes scarce. The food becomes limited. So, in my opinion, I do believe that they like bears and mountain lions. I do believe the squatches know just as much. Um, it's a routine that wildlife. They know the seasons. They live out in the wild. They know how to survive. They become adapted to it. It's a natural thing. A bear cub, it learns through it. It learns from the older. From the mother. It's a survival tactic that is learned. You know, some of it's instinct, basic instinct. You know, um, so with that being said, I know I'm rambling. uh,
Yeah,
do any of you guys have anything you want to jump in on that?
yeah. Actually, you got a good point there too. Just like myself, if I had to go back in time and asked, you know, if I had to go back in time and ask my family, how do I stay cold? I'd have to rely on, my grandma, my grandpa, and then think about my ancestors. I'd have to go back, and I like the fact that I got my blood test done because it told me it showed me a different view on my life and what my life means and why I'm put here on this earth. And the bigger picture, with God and why did God make me. But when I got the test done, it said that my ancestors were the hunters and gatherers. So that's my ancestors. But we'd have to go back in time and ask our ancestors and rely on them. For instance, if we had ancestors like for instance, they said that my blood came back 100% European and 8% Scandinavian. And that kind of shocked me because on on my dad's side, they always thought that we were Indian and Cherokee, but you know, but taking that and trying to put a different spin on it, I kind of think that we have to go back in time, and just like with gorillas and Bigfoots, they have to rely on their parents and grandparents. So just like for instance, if we want to survive in Alaska, we would have to go to the Eskimos and ask them, how do you, you know, give me clothing? And they would. So yeah, but that's my spin on it.
All right.
And I have kind of a different take on all that. I mean, I come from the same back that uh, Daniel says. Uh, as far as big animals, creatures, humans, whatever you want to call them out there, I don't believe there is enough to sustain them uh, at all. I mean, anything more than 15 feet is gonna eat a lot. It needs a lot of nourishment.
Right.
And there's no way that it would decimate herds. I honestly, if they have an area that they're searching and hunting and stuff, and I do believe they're probably omnivores, so I do think they're eating all kinds of stuff. But right now in the winter, they're eating meat.
Yeah.
They've got to eat meat.
Absolutely.
And
Yep.
I don't see that happening to the herds. I still hear people getting their deer every year, and I still that there's still thriving herds out there in all these different areas. And uh, I mean, there's no way you could have something so huge and not find the scat of that animal. There's no way.
Yeah.
Can you that the scat alone, I mean, we're talking something massive. We're not, it's not compared to what and how big they're, you're talking something big that's eats both plant and animal. You're gonna have some scat out there, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be found.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I absolutely
Okay, now
agree.
if you want to go with the theory that we can't find any fossil record or we can't find any bones, well, then yeah, we have examples of that. We rarely find the bear, dead bear. We rarely find other animals, but we still have the fossil record. We do see the bear out there, you know? So this is something completely different. It's something that and I'm not talking about the people who have seen them and are knowers, okay? You have the answer in your mind. So there's nothing I can say, because you've already had that experience. So without taking that away from anybody, for the other part who have never seen one, we don't have that solidified in what we look at every day. We don't know they exist until we have our own experience. So um, it's hard to believe without taking that scientifically into um, I hate saying that too, um, into account. You have to take it into account that
Yeah.
there's going to be a lot of poop out there. There's going to be a lot of damage, more than just a little tree break, in the woods with something that big. It's not happening. I think they're smaller than that. I think their population are lower than we think. I I do believe they exist, okay? And I am on the skeptic side, but I am still a believer. And a lot of people can't. They're like, "What? You don't believe in them? You do believe in them?" I do. Like I said earlier, there's too many sightings that are credible to me. So there's something out there that people are seeing, and and maybe one day we'll find that. But we have to be realistic about this,
Yep.
you know.
And with what you just said, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And that's part of the point I was trying to make. When night, like with a 6 to 8 foot on average subject alone would have to be a challenge, for them to be able to get their calorie intake and and be able to get their food, and which again, I do believe they're getting it, but I mean they are here, and so but again, yeah, anything much larger, man. I mean,
I think there has to be more evidence that we would see. I
yeah.
mean, and anything over 20, airplanes can see, for goodness sakes, that you can't hide
Look, we got drones
something
too.
that
Drones
big.
would see that kind of stuff.
Um, now, so a lot of people go with the thought that they don't only come, the big ones only come out at night, and they're
Hold on, you might want to back up. You froze up there for a good while.
hiding areas. So what, they're living underground, which a lot of people think they do, that they've found they live in caves under the ground, and that's how they're hiding so well.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But I don't know. What do you guys think on
Well, there's a
the
question on the
subject?
live chat for you, Nikki. It's kind of slightly off of what you've been talking about, but the question
I
is,
think that,
oh,
okay, okay, I'll do it. What do you think portals are? That was the question that she answered for me. Now, I I carry the paranormal and Bigfoot separate, okay, just from my own findings. And I believe in both because I've had paranormal experiences. So I do think that is something. And uh, I had experience with that, but I've never had an experience with Bigfoot, okay? So I've never seen a situation where I've seen a Bigfoot come out of a portal. So until that happens to me, I don't think it exists for me. Okay, if you've seen one, tell me your story.
Yeah.
But for me, there may be a portal for the paranormal, where entities can come in and out of or whatever. And I've never seen a portal, but I do know that entities exist and can, oh, how do I say this? Can touch you spiritually, can manipulate, can do that poltergeisty thing. And, but as far as Bigfoot in portals, I just don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I know a big part of the community believes in that, and you can go, you can do that. That's your opinion, my opinion, and we all have them, and that's okay. That I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
How do I know I'm not going to walk out in the woods one day and I'm going to see a Bigfoot? I don't know that. So uh, I can be open to that. But for right now, all my logic says that they don't have anything to do with that. That because see, I'm more from the line that they are a flesh and blood creature, more animal, not human. And it may be part of the primate line, but I don't think that they're an ancient human. Okay, I don't believe that. I think they are on more of the North American ape theory,
Yeah.
kind of.
Kind of
But
like
I
their
don't
own.
know. Nobody knows one to test.
Oh yeah.
There is no DNA out there of a Bigfoot, okay? And if there is, that
Oh man, she's
that
freezing up.
is, and do you want to say they do DNA stuff is legit? So, but that's up to you. That's a whole nother issue. That's a
Yeah,
whole nother
Nikki.
show.
Yeah, you slightly froze up a little bit during that when you first started talking about the DNA, but I
Oh,
don't know.
oh,
Maybe that was just on my end. I don't know.
I don't
Bob,
know
did she
either.
freeze up on you?
Just a little bit.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought maybe it was just my end. I was getting
I'm
concerned
just,
because
yeah, I was just saying that, that nobody has the DNA for Bigfoot. It's unless the government has it and they're hiding it, but we don't know. We,
yeah,
the researchers now, we don't really have that. And unless David Police has that,
yeah.
with his new DNA thing he did. So that's a whole nother show, I said. So,
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah, we could. I mean, that's something we could easily jump into that. Which but like you said, if you're not up for that, that's fine. Because I mean, the thing is, even if they did come forward and say, "Oh, we have all these samples," they come back as this. My question is, you must have a Bigfoot body because if you don't, how are you comparing it to know exactly what it is? That's how people got to look at that. That's the scientific way. Paul Pilatus, I
mhm,
would assume that he would know that because just from being him, being a retired police officer and whatever he was, FBI, that's something that you think they would know. That they would have to have a specimen to compare the samples to
right.
identify exactly what it could be. Yeah, I mean, whatever they're coming back as unknown or blah
No,
blah blah
as
or
far
some
as
type of
I know,
human.
he got DNA and they all came out the same,
Yeah,
with human, but not, um, what was it?
not Neanderthal.
Not Neanderthal and
So
not Australopithecus or what's the other one?
uh,
I wrote it down. Um, Not Denisovian.
yeah,
And
I don't know. That would be interesting. I mean,
but we just don't know. I kind of go with the thought from Kathy Strain, where she says without getting that one sample, okay, we have samples of everything. And yes, it's sad. And I know PETA's out there probably going to attack all that. But without that one sample to compare, it we can't help them. We can't help them. We can't, and I don't know if helping them, it can't be making reservations, because there's no way, I don't think anybody can take a Bigfoot and herd them into a reservation.
Yeah.
I think they're going to go and do whatever they want to do. They're
Yeah.
not going to be, unless we have this owl situation again, like on the West Coast, where they stop the logging, and then,
Yep.
all that. I mean, well, if we do have a Bigfoot that comes and either we find one already dead, or somebody accidentally kills it, or somebody intentionally kills it, I think the Bigfoot world is going to really change
Yeah.
after that.
Well, Cliff Barackman made a statement. He says right now the Bigfoot, they're safe. They're safe, but he said, right now all of us that are currently involved with doing Bigfoot research out there exploring, yes, we are all, because we're Bigfoot researchers, we're independent researchers. We have, because we do not have a degree in anything, any scientific background, so we're known or considered as amateur researchers. And even though he said eventually the academic scientific field, the academic researchers eventually will get involved, and when they get involved, when a discovery happens, then he made a statement when that's when they're going to need protection, because it's
Mhm.
going to, once it becomes a worldwide public thing where
Right.
it's going to be labeled as a new discovery on the records, then they're going to need protection, because there's going to be people out there or whatever, because they're going to look at it as a rare species, and so then who knows what could happen and take place from people out there going to have every trigger happy Joe going out there looking for something, hey, bag me a Sasquatch, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Well,
So
there's people out there right now say they've killed them, but there's no evidence to that.
oh yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, there's even more recently, actually, I got the line on. Let me see if I can find it, because I wrote it down, of a guy in an area um, who killed two in Pennsylvania.
Really?
And I hadn't said anything because I don't have any background on it at all, other than it's from the Loyalsock State Forest. I don't know where that is. I haven't researched it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that area too, but
But I have a name of the guy who supposedly killed two Bigfoot,
really.
but I don't know the date or time, um, or any associations with that or anything. And I came across something, and I jotted that down. So who knows,
Yeah.
what's happening out there.
Can I say something about that man in the chat room?
What?
Oh, who's that?
Oh, I just want to add something about what that man asked about the portals. I
Oh
just want
yeah.
to, yeah, I just want to say one quick thing. I don't know if I believe. I believe in the paranormal. I believe in portals. I've had experiences myself when I was 11 years old, and before that. But my first experience with the paranormal, I was 11, and at the time, I was actually. I just shared this story with my mom and my sister and my brother, and I keep sharing this story. When I was 11, I thought about committing suicide, and I was at a a very dark space. And the reason why I wanted to share this, because I'm thinking that the man upstairs has something that we don't know. And the reason why I say that, because when I was 11, I was in a very dark spot, because my oldest brothers left state, and I had a hole in my heart, and I didn't know how to go on. And at that time, I had my first experience, and people swear that when they're on their last verge, that something happens. They have experience. I truly believe that. And I think if it wasn't for that, and I never did believe, like I went to church and all that, and I prayed, and I thought, no, there's no such thing. And then boom, I think that God had that power. Like at that time, God was like, I'm going to show you, son. I'm going to show you the power that I have. Because the reason why I say this, just real quick, just like uh, the story of the Ten Commandments. And the reason why I say this, I want to put a different spin on this, because God had that power when the Pharaoh of Egypt was fighting with Moses. That Pharaoh kept saying, I have the power, I got the power. And then God says, no, I got the power. I'm going to send locusts. I'm going to send swarms. I'm going to send plagues. So if God has that power, which he did and which he does, if he had the power to send something like that, he has God, our maker, the man upstairs, he has the power to do anything. So that's my spin on it. I think that he has the power, to open things, to reveal things to us at that time. But that's my say on it.
I have to say something real quick. Robin Griffith, I accidentally timed you out on the chat. My phone was falling and I tried to catch it and I don't know what I did. I am so sorry. I did not mean to do that. Daniel, do you know how to reverse that?
No, because I made a boo boo too. Because I was clicking on what the heck happened. I clicked on the message that you
What did you
retracted,
do?
and I put her in timeout too.
Oh shit.
I deleted the message and put her in timeout again. So I don't think it's that long, but still, if you're there, who was
It
it
just
again? Robin?
happened. That was the first time I've ever heard that's happened. Yeah,
No,
Robin Griffith. Don't leave.
everybody, if you see Robin jump back on, tell her we're very sorry. It was an accident. I was pushing on the
It's
comment to see what was going on, and I pushed something by. I was doing it too
It was
fast, and I was like,
accident. My phone was falling, and as I was catching it, I did that. I don't know.
"No, Rob C. No, Robin was not naughty. It was just a clear accident." So
Oh man, she had all kinds of good comments too, but
yeah,
hopefully you guys already read those.
I know. I hope she comes back.
I
Um,
don't think she'll leave. Don't leave, Robin. We're sorry. I'm sorry. That it started with me because I'm balancing my phone with the cord and it fell over. Oh,
yeah, because I mean, I got my
I'm
phone
taking
going
the
on
cord
right
off.
here, and I was clicking on it, but hold on. Sam Deloach sent me a voice clip. Let me see what he says.
Oh, he was just telling you what he did.
Oh,
Where he went.
oh, okay. Oh, he sent you one too.
Yeah, he's cool. He's got to do some family stuff. 300 seconds. So is she going to be out for like 900 seconds?
Yeah, I don't know how long timeout is.
Mine said 300 seconds. Anyway, I don't know.
300 seconds. That's like well 4 or 5 minutes. 60 and 60 is 2 minutes. So
But do you added on two more?
I
Or
think
you need more?
well maybe I did. I think I just deleted. I think I just deleted it. Does
I don't
anybody?
know how. Does anybody know how to get her back on?
Um, Robin Griffin, if you're there, please make a comment.
She probably
Let us know
can't.
you're still there because we
We'll
made
just
an
have to go
accident.
on.
All right.
Oh, jeez.
Oh man, we're bad.
Yeah, that was bad. I feel really bad about that.
Oh man. See.
Any questions? Does anybody have any questions? What do we have? Have you had a Rougarou in the UK? He's asking, I don't know who he's asking.
Oh, I see Chubb's replies. I grew up in the swamp areas with Rougarou activity and many sightings. Excuse me, I'm sneezing now. Oh,
Bless you.
thank you. Yeah, he said with many things happen that are unexplainable. So Yeah, yeah. Chubb's yeah, he's down in the down by the Gulf. I guess between like Louisiana area and yeah, I'm not sure what part of the Gulf he is because I guess between the Gulf between Louisiana, Texas, Florida, down that way. I don't know how that. I guess all that connects somehow, right, around the Gulf.
Yeah.
So, um, hmm. So yeah, again, real quick, everybody, if you see Robin Griffin jump back on the live chat, please tell her it was an accidental put whatever how you want to call it. We did not mean to put her in timeout, and so so I wonder what
Not
happened.
that I'm not afraid to put you in timeout. But that one was an accident.
All right, hold on. Harold put a message up there. He retracted his message. I didn't even see what he said.
Oh, I didn't either.
It says message retracted. I don't know. He removed it himself though. I don't know what he was saying. Maybe I don't know. Who knows?
Maybe it was the darn auto spell. I hate that thing.
Autocorrect.
Yeah.
I hate that too.
um. Oh, okay. Harold was just mentioning that Chubb said that he is near New Orleans.
New Orleans.
Cool, cool, cool.
Cajun country.
I want to go have me a po' boy. A lobster po' boy.
Harold Dent said he accidentally erased his own message.
See, now everybody's gonna be doing it.
Golly, it's a domino effect. Lord have mercy.
Oh.
And me, I'm still new at this, so I'm even afraid of touching certain buttons here.
Yeah. Hey, I was gonna ask you, Bob, are you running a paper shredder on and off?
Nope.
What was that buzz noise that you had going on earlier?
Unless that was when I had to plug my laptop in because the battery was draining fast.
Oh, okay, because I kept hearing like a buzzing sound.
Unless it was that.
Huh. No, it's all right. Yeah, because Nikki, when she uses her laptop, her fan kicks on. It gets real loud.
I know I can't use my big computer anymore. It's horrible. It sounds like a jet plane taking off. It's like,
yeah.
My laptop is pretty quiet.
Well,
yeah.
my computer is the one with everything in it. It does, so it has to have an internal fan in there. And now that it's full, it's like thinks hard. I guess it needs that fan on all the time.
Yeah.
So it's horrible.
Well, Bob, just for future reference, if you ever have to mute yourself, do you know how to mute it?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. No, I'm just making sure because some people that are new they don't see that little hidden bar menu at the top. So
yeah, because I pressed on that earlier and then I was like, oops.
Also, there's another one off to your left too. If you may have some options on your left. So like
actually, I don't see anything out on my screen now. Huh.
Yeah, if you might have to move your mouse, scroll your mouse around, but usually if you scroll it to the far left.
Yeah. Now I see it. Yep.
All right, cool. Like right now, what I have open, usually when I have a lot of people on here on the panel, I usually I got the control room opened up. Basically, it shows everybody on there, and I can mute and I can adjust their volumes if I need to. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But so.
Thank God for Google Hangouts.
Oh, Bob, you got a question on the live chat. What disguise will you be chatting in next Friday? I think he'll have a Dolly Parton wig on and fake boobs.
Hey, watch it there, Buster. Actually, I'm gonna keep my beard thing here.
Ah. Well, it's funny. I found I got an eye patch I might wear one day. I don't know. This is nothing special. I got it from the Halloween store, so.
Cool.
Yeah. And, one thing I like to do every now and then, a lot of times people like to ask about equipment. What kind of equipment use in the woods? And I'll show you. I'll show everybody the equipment I got. I'm not going to really get into explaining it, but the equipment I have is fairly inexpensive. And the thing is, I really don't use it that much. I got 2 different night vision devices. I do use when I go out, when I'm out camping, or doing a night investigation. I'm gonna start off with my first one. This one here is my Carson Aurora. It's like a little mini handheld camcorder, which basically it is, and it takes pictures and it does videos. It's in black and white. There's 2 different versions of this device. One, actually, you can see it's only used for viewing. This one here, this little device right here has an SD card slot in it, so you could actually save your photos and save your videos. It's a very nice little device. This one here, the price may have gone down. I've had this for a few years, but this one here is you're looking about around close to $200 for this little device. Again, it's night vision. It's got the field of view. I'm trying to remember probably close to about 50, between 50 and 75 yards. Yeah, you roughly give or take between 50 to 75 yards, more around 50. Yeah, that's about accurate. It does pretty good. It has a front and rear focus, just like a regular camcorder or any other monocular. Um, I have fun with this. I wish it had a thing on it where you could put it mounted on a tripod to help stabilize it. Because anybody that's familiar with night vision, sometimes it can be pretty sensitive. This is one of my devices I use when I go out at night. Um, Another one I keep here nearby, and a lot of people that are familiar with the different equipment and gear. This is one of my favorite ones. I love this one. This is the iGen 2020 night vision binocular. This device right here, I believe you can get. When these first came out, they were around, I don't know, $600 to $700 something. But you can get these probably around $450 to $500 right here. Again, it's got the front and rear adjustment focus right here. Right here, here's your night vision. One thing about this night vision here, I love this night vision device right here, this binocular. The thing is awesome. It has different settings on it. You can use the different color settings. It's got the red, green, blue, black and white, whatever, Um, and if you're at nighttime, pure darkness, well, okay, say you got moonlight. This device here, you turn the infrared off, and use it without infrared. The technology in this device will allow you to see as far as you can during the daytime. Like if you got moonlight, the technology will use natural light, whatever available light, and you can see again, just like if you're looking up and down the road or across the field in the daytime, you will be able to see at night with the proper amount of moonshine. With this device here. Like I said, it has 2 settings of it's got regular and then auto. It's got auto, and then it's got the whatever the mega or full infrared. It's got a very strong setting. This here has got it's got the tripod on it. One other thing about this here, I wish it had was a SD card slot. This does not have an SD card slot, but you can record off of this. The only downfall is right here on the side, it's got a video output button, and in order to record, unfortunately, you need another device that goes along with this, which is usually I think recommended. It's a DVR, the Orion DVR, and basically, I'm not sure how that works. I know I looked it up on YouTube before. But yeah, you can do pictures and videos off of this. But again, with a video output, you need the Orion DVR plugged in. So, but yeah, that's one of my other night visions. I like scanning the forest with that. I don't have everything here tonight. I just happen to have these nearby. I thought I'd share them with you. Um, They're pretty cool devices. And a lot of people like to use a GoPro. All right, I do have which is similar to a GoPro. Is not a real name brand GoPro. It's a very identical to a GoPro. It's the regular action camera. It is fully waterproof, and this outside steel casing, just like the GoPro, it is waterproof. The thing works. The quality of the it's pretty good quality. It's high def 1080p. So it's a pretty good device. It comes with different mounting pieces. You could actually buy more just like you can on a GoPro. So this device here, about 35, $40 right here. And I like to hook it when I wear my rucksack, which has a frame bar across the top. I like to set it on the back of the bar facing behind me. A lot of people like to do that. So it's a pretty good device. It works good. You can set it up and maybe mount it elsewhere. Get creative with it. But yeah, you can find these action cameras for about 30 to $40 online. Very inexpensive. And they do take an SD card in them. You can take single shot photos, or you can set it to take relapsing photo videos. So that's one of my favorite little devices right there. I had fun with that. I've used it a few times. I do want to. I've been working on. I had to fix the bracket. The bracket is fixed, so I plan on maybe putting that to use more this year. I haven't used it in a while, so um, I will be using that some. So, okay, let me see what. The Bluesman Sasquatch Chaser said I have one of those, but the sound isn't aligned on them. Yeah, the thing is, it does pick up sound, but mine is very low. The sound does work pretty good on mine as far as in alignment with it, but as far as the tone or the volume of it, the volumes are down low. I mainly use it for video, the video and photos. It takes to me it takes great photos. It does pretty good videos as well. Like I said, it's not a GoPro, but it's a regular action camera that you can find for 30, $40. I'm very happy with it. I'm content with it. So yeah, those are just a couple things I keep on hand. Oh, and then my camcorder, of course. Yeah, I've had this camcorder for 2-3 years now, and I'm very highly content with this. This is the Sony HD. This is the Sony Handycam, and yeah, it's the high def. Yeah, it's 9.2 megapixels as far as photos. It takes photos. So, yep, I love it. Oh, the battery must dead because it's not even turning on. So, I don't know. Yeah, the battery's dead. It's not even turning on. Because usually it turns on once you usually open up the flap, it'll turn on. But this device right here, the Sony that you're looking at, this is a $300 camera. And again, it's beautiful. This here's only got 60 times zoom. Basically, I feel that's all you really need. And to zoom in, as far as it goes, this camera right here it's a very stable, clear image. Especially that's why I love using the tripod. This is the Targus tripod. Is about around, I forget how much I paid for that, but $50-$60 for this tripod. It stands up about 5.5 feet tall. And then plus you could actually add the extension. You loosen this up here. Once you have it standing up, it extends out here, so you could have it around 6 feet, almost 6 feet tall right here. So, but yeah, love this thing, and it picks up audio really good. I could be standing 20 feet away from this, and I could have a conversation. I've done it on other. You can watch some of my field videos where I've actually used this, and I'm very impressed with the audio. So I love using this. When I'm out in the woods and I'm walking and talking, I'll have this camera set just like this. I'll have it angled right at me. Just kind of like anyone who's ever watched Les Stroud and on his Bigfoot episodes, I'll use it like that. I'll talk, I don't always try to talk into the camera. Sometimes I have it extended all the way out, walking in front of me like that too. So pretty good device. Again, this is the Sony high def Handycam. $300 and awesome device. So if you're looking for something that's affordable and that's good quality, I definitely recommend this one here. All right, and again, it's a 60 times zoom. What else we got? 60 times zoom. Let me read other details here. Yeah, clear image zoom. Blah blah blah. Yep. Yeah, optical steady shot. Yeah. Do some research on them. You may be impressed in what you find out. You may want to invest in one. It's good for all kinds. It's great outdoors. I've had it in all kinds of weather already. It's a very reliable camera. Um, and like I said, does great. Okay, I'm being asked. Any recommendations on digital sound recorders? What I use, it's simple, and again, it's very affordable. I highly recommend the Olympus. There's other versions out there. Sony even makes one. But Olympus, I think, is going to be your best choice. Definitely get your. You can get one for about $40, 40, 45, give or take. Some of the Olympus ones, they come with pick one of your choice because really pay attention and compare. When it comes to digital audio recorders, they some of them have more storage memory, which holds so that's something you might want to check into. So hold on. All right, yeah. So yeah, just like I said, compare your prices, compare the product. Um, depending on what you want usage for it. I mean, if you want to be able to record, some of them do. Like I don't have mine handy right now, but what I do, some of them have the capability where it takes a SD card. Some of them have the plug where you could actually plug it into another device like a laptop and upload your audio. Mine does not. Mine's like a cheaper version, but it works great. But so all right, hold on one second. So yeah, that's about it. Oh yeah, you're very welcome. Very welcome. Let's see. What else we got? All right. So, is there anything I'm leaving out you guys might want to share? Nikki or Bob with his little doggy. Nikki, you're talking, but you're muted.
Oops. I muted myself.
Oh.
Well, my clock goes off and it's like really noisy. It sings. So I have to mute you every hour on the hour. I have to mute you. Anyway, no, I wanted to say everyone's welcome to come to Bigfoot Weekly on my Facebook group, and we can get you on there. We share a lot of stuff. Nobody. I've had only kick out one person.
Okay. Can I guess who it was? Nah, let me stop.
No.
I'm not doing that. I'm just joking. Yeah, go check out her page. I share a lot of stuff there. I try to share when I post new blogs, or any bit of my information. I try to always make sure I share there as well. Yeah, if you're not on Facebook, or if you are on Facebook, yeah, come find Nikki, come find me, Bobcat. We're all there. Sam Deloche, Zach Sterrick, which he's not on tonight. Baldemar Galvan Jr. He's around somewhere, but you can find him, and we're all there. If you have questions, we'll all answer your questions to the best of our ability. So I have on Facebook. I have the main ECBRO Facebook group. Well, let me ask you, Nikki, did you notice something? It was about last week or earlier this week or last week. Facebook did it to almost every group on Facebook where they took out people out of the group.
I didn't notice.
Yeah, some people usually lost. A lot of them lost about around 100. I end up losing. I lost about 200 people.
Matter of fact, they are doing that. On my one page that I made, I got a page that's called "What's Really Out There." I had like 990 something, and now they took like 500 people.
What?
What?
Wow. Yeah, they took. I had over 1,900 on my Facebook group, and now I'm down to 17 something now. But
I didn't even bother to look. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I still have the same.
It just
Huh.
rolled. So you might want to. There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, Baltimore.
Hey, how you
Hey,
doing?
better late than never. How did you work tonight?
No.
Oh, okay. It's like me. I didn't work today either. I took today off.
Yeah, I had some internet issues.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Actually, man, there was some pretty cool stuff we were getting to discussing and talking. I know there was one earlier. I can't remember what we were talking. We were covering a few different subjects, and I think there was one in particular. I definitely wanted to. I was going to ask you, get you to talk about. But I can't remember what we were talking about at that time. Um, like I said, we started off with one thing and jumped to another, and then got into something totally different, and we did get into talking about the Bob Gimlin and the Patterson footage, and for everything that's been going on with that regarding MK Davis and all that good stuff. Um, hmm, I don't
What's
know.
MeWe?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure what that is. I see that on the live chat. But, so have you gathered any new Bigfoot reports down there, or you hear anything going on?
I've heard that somebody saw something last week, and I really didn't get to that much detail. I was trying to contact the gentleman, and nothing.
Mm,
So he's basically running around here still, and so that's the thing. It's he basically jumps from county to county, and
yeah.
just just catching him in the right spot, and that's why it's so important to get the eyewitnesses out here, and like that we get a time frame exactly when he's coming through and stuff like that. But that's the thing is dealing with Bigfoot out here. You just never know where he's going to be.
Right.
So that's again, it's up to the eyewitnesses. It's up to the people who have courage up there to actually come up there and say, "Hey, look, I actually saw one," and it's very difficult getting people to talk about it because they don't want people to think that they're nuts.
Right.
So that's the thing, and there's sometimes that law enforcement don't want um, uh, to express so much about it because it's basically a joke. So we as researchers we have to make sure that you know that say, hey, look, if you see something out there, just contact somebody and just let us know what's going on.
Oh yeah. I know there was something I was going to ask you. Hold on. Let me look something up first. Um, hold on. That ain't what I wanted. Yeah, here we go. If it clears up. Um, hold on.
Life before the arrest was a good time, and the dark side took me away. How could you
What?
correspond with him?
Uh, okay, I think here's one. Yeah, because I'm looking at the U.S. State map.
It would be to Canada,
Uh,
and it would be to
I'm looking at some of the states that connect to Texas, that border Texas.
live with my love.
Um, Arkansas. How far are you from Arkansas?
Arkansas, I would say like around 10 hours.
What?
Arkansas is like around 10, 11 hours.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, like around 10, 11 hours.
Oh, okay. Okay. Now, the reason I was asking you that because one of the documentaries I've had for a long time, I finally watched it today, and just one of the interviews with one of the people on there, got me thinking about the Falk, Arkansas, the monster, the Bigfoot legend down there,
Right.
and I got to thinking, I said, well, you know what? I said, you got Falk, Arkansas, and then with the activity that you are getting and all the stories and the reports that you're gathering, I was just wondering maybe was there, a connection possibly from Falk, Arkansas down South Texas.
Yeah,
along the eastern border. Could be
yes,
like a travel route.
yeah. See, the thing is, again, is like here is like we have a lot of feral hogs.
Yeah.
We have food supply here for them is just unbelievable.
Mm.
Um, there's even people that has been trying to poison these wall hogs, to get them out there because there's so many.
Mm.
That's a big, big, big food supply for them.
Right.
There's stories that actually that have actually heard that actually Bigfoot will actually grab the hogs by the feet and actually hit them on trees and stuff in order for them to kill these animals.
Wow.
Because it's the protein wise. I mean, we have so much raw hogs out here, and it's so easy for them to catch. And then you come up there to the rivers and the creeks that where these animals, uh, where these wild hogs are at. Uh, Again, there. I mean, the food supply is everywhere for them.
Yeah.
So you have like we have like the San Antonio River, we have the Guadalupe River, we have the Trinity River, we have the Nueces River. I mean, we have so many rivers
Yeah.
where people have actually had so many encounters with these animals.
Mm.
There's actually like in Houston, I believe it was, where there was a lady that actually saw Bigfoot eating a snake, and
Oh.
but the feds went out there, and she was talking about it, and so the feds went out there and actually told her not to talk about it anymore, and they gathered up and they even picked up the snake. So I mean, there's a lot of stories out there where where people have actually encountered Bigfoot, and they're just people that just don't want to talk about it. So they get scared off, or again, is up to us as researchers, to make sure that we're getting the right information that we have out there. Just
Right.
to yeah.
And plus, Texas is very full of deer as well, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The terrain out here, we have a whole bunch of oak trees, giant oak trees, where you could actually hold. If you could have like 6, 7 people holding their arms around each other, and just hugging one base to a tree.
Mm.
Uh, I mean, I call these big old trees, the king, the Valley of the Kings, because there's so many oak trees out here,
Oh
and
yeah.
there's no, and even like the mulberry trees that also get huge as well. I mean, we have so many trees out here that are so massive that anything can just gonna hide around there and even climb on top.
Right.
And the brush is so thick. There's places even when the grapevines are so uh, growing so much around these trees that you could actually walk in there, and it is so dark in there at times.
Mm.
And then so that's why there's sometimes we are in mercy of the people who actually own this land in order for us to get on it, because there's sometimes that private landowners don't want anybody to go on there, but family members and stuff, and that makes an excellent place for Bigfoot to hide, and that makes them more safe there. There's people that have like thousands upon thousands of acres that don't let nobody in there, and again, it's a perfect ideal place for a primate to hide.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool. I've always wanted like certain areas, like yeah, for example, I know Texas it's a well-known state, and I used to watch a lot of hunting shows. You get bits and pieces of Texas or what it looks like. So for somebody that actually lived down there, I've always getting like especially your particular area. I always like asking and getting a feel of your the layout of the land. I guess you could say, but it kind of it helps paint that picture in your mind, and to get that visual. And plus you shared photos too, and like when you came up here last year, you showed pictures of that one particular area. It looked pretty thick around there too,
Right.
around around that hole, in that area. So
Texas is basically divided up in 4 parts,
yeah,
and then once you reach like San Antonio straight up, you have your hill country,
yeah.
and so there's a lot of rocks and everything like that up there. And then once
Hmm.
you come down further south, once you have further south, and then you have a different type of terrain. And then where Nikki's at, you have a different type of terrain there too. And then
Right.
you have your east, that's also a whole bunch of wetlands and everything like that, pretty close to Louisiana, where basically it's
Ah.
another form of wetlands and everything like that. So we basically got a cluster of everything.
Right.
And then
Well,
so
then.
yeah, and then you come up there and so you put everything together, and it's a perfect place for your squatches because right now you have a lot of snow, a lot of cold weather up north right now, and
Yeah.
then
Oh
so
yeah.
and it's a perfect opportunity for them to come further south, like again to get into the warmer weather. There's sometimes also too, like I believe that you said at one time, can Bigfoot survive? These cold climates. They can,
Right.
but the thing is, again, for me, if I was an animal like that, Eagles, I'd rather come further south,
Alpha.
where
Yeah.
the food supply is uh, is uh, is uh, is just tremendous for us.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because, yeah, because we were. Oh, yeah, that's something we were talking about earlier about the climate and everything. And one of my videos I made out there when I was out in the woods one time, it was about the cold weather. The cold weather was starting to settle in, and and I made a statement there. People got to realize it's like you got to think about where the wildlife goes, where the deer and all the other mammals go. When the food sources become scarce, they got to travel. They got to move around and migrate where they can survive. So where they go, you got to think about apex predators. What are they going to do? Yeah, they're going to follow. So that makes a lot of sense.
See,
So
that's exactly what the Native Americans people did. They actually
right,
went where the food supply was at. If the food supply was wasn't abundant, they actually went to an area where it was abundant.
right,
And so, the thing is, again, is Bigfoot to me personally has the mentality of the Native American Indian. Because number one, he's not going to go to an area where there's a little bit of food supply. He's going to go there where there's a bunch of food where he could thrive on.
right.
So and what state right now has the most food where these animals could thrive on? And you're looking at Texas. So
Yeah,
because and you come up there where the big elk are at, and you come up there where the moose are at, and to me is what is the most easiest place for me to catch food. To me, again, would be Texas because again comes with your feral hogs and everything. So.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty good. Um, seeing if we had any questions on live chat.
Who's
Um,
a who's a who's the gentleman with the mask?
that's Bobcat Wong.
I am one half of the Robertsons family.
Yeah, last Friday he had his Irish, his leprechaun hat on last Friday.
You never know about me. I surprise everybody.
Hey, one of these days, Baltimore, you'll have to dress up in some of your, or maybe put some war paint on.
Yeah, maybe one of these days.
That'd be cool.
I know that's probably a lot of work to probably clean off, though. But
Yeah, there's some days Lil helps me put on my face paint. Sometimes it takes minutes, sometimes it takes hours. So
wow,
yeah,
that's pretty
Hey,
cool.
Baltimore, can I ask you a question?
sure.
I've talked to you before about, things that I asked you about, what our government does for the Indians. I got a quick question for you because I know that you're Indian, but I got a weird question. I recently got that blood test done. My blood test came back 100% European, 8% Scandinavian. Now, here's my question to you. I was wondering what your input on this is, because on my dad's side, there is Cherokee, and the reason why I say that the Cherokee, even my grandma said on her side, and I don't see why my grandma, she's 82 years old. I don't see why she would lie to me. She swears up and down that there's Cherokee, and there's names on my grandma's side called Woodrum, and when I search Woodrum, it's Cherokee. But here's my question. My sister swears that there's she swears that it should say native, but when I got the blood test done, it didn't even come back 1% native. It just said 100% European and 8% Scandinavian, even though on my dad's side they're swearing that there's Woodrums and that there's Cherokees. So what's your input? My sister seems to think that the government is trying to hide or cover up, but what do you think?
Huh. What would be a good answer for that?
You want me to take this?
Hey, I think my fiance was. We were I'm sorry. This is her.
I was gonna say, do you want me to take this one, babe? Because
yeah, I got a kick out of it when I got a kick out of it when Baltimore said, "What's a good answer for this?" That was good.
That's a good question. I don't know. The Cherokee are an interesting case because there's a lot of people who got listed on the rolls for the Cherokee bands, okay, during the removals, but they were not actually blood related to the tribe. So you're actually listed as Cherokee, and your family thinks they're Cherokee, and it's passed down as family lore, but your blood isn't actually Cherokee.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And it's partly because of how the Cherokee tried to assimilate into white culture. At one point, they of course had plantations and slaves of their own. They had little towns. They had all of this, trying to keep the government from rounding them up and sticking them on a reservation and taking their land. They figured the more white they acted, the more they would be left alone. And of course, that's not what happened. The government went in, rounded up everybody, listed them all as Cherokee, slaves and all, and shipped them out west. So there's this big mix-up as to who was actually blood from the tribe and who were families that lived in the towns that they owned and the slaves that they actually owned. So that could be where that comes in.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It really does. It actually clears up a lot of things because, yeah, like you said, someone could say they were this, but weren't physically, by blood. It's kind of like a state that reminds me of a statement that Baltimore made a while back related to folklore in general. It's like how Native Americans like they love their folklore, and it's kind of like sharing a story that may have started off as one thing, and then over a period of time, that story might have completely changed, through history, But with that, I don't know. It's kind of how that reminded me a little bit about that. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense, though. So, but you guys, excuse me a second. I gotta use the bathroom real quick.
Alrighty.
Nikki, how you been doing?
Good. I'm good.
Good.
It was a long week.
Long week. Yeah.
Long week.
Long week. Yeah, I had a long week myself. Work was crazy, but I enjoyed it. So it went fast.
How you been, Baltimore?
I've been doing good. I've been a little bit exhausted. I went to the little bar tonight. I had a little bit of beers here tonight, so I'm feeling no pain.
Cool.
Yeah. I like my beer. What can I say? Sorry.
I used to, not no more.
Why?
You used to? For me personally, I like all different types of beers. I like I love my beers from Austin.
Yeah,
My brother-in-law is a chemist, and he makes his own beer. And and then I tried to try different types of beers, different IPAs and things like that type deal to try to figure out. And I mean, there's so many different beers out there. So I like my Coors Light once in a while and my Michelob once in a while. But I like different types of beer to try them out. And I
don't
mean, there's so many different people now who's actually brewing their own beer. And so I like I just like trying different things. So.
I
That's cool.
I was bad. I was actually addicted to it. But I was to the point where if you put a bottle of vodka, screwdriver after screwdriver, I'd go to a bar, go to a club, and be like, "Give me one, give me two, give me three, give me four," and I get stone drunk.
Right.
And it's been 8 years that I stopped.
Wow.
Good for you.
That's excellent. See,
Hey,
and it comes back to knowing what your limits are.
yeah,
My limits are maybe like 3 or 4, no more than 4. But it comes to what your limits are. Um, tonight I probably had like around 4, and that was my top. But I don't like to get carried away or anything like that.
Yeah,
So.
you're lucky he's not sleeping because it's usually
yeah.
his sleeping point.
Yeah.
Well, I jump back on here. We're talking about alcohol, or
Yeah, we're talking about beer.
oh yeah, Waldemar. I remember when you were up here, you drink 4 cases by yourself. No, I'm just
Oh
joking.
yeah. Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
I just let me stop. Oh yeah, and let me add on to that. Then you and Zach were passed out, cuddling each other. Nah,
Yeah, Zach was out. So
yeah. Oh man, but yeah, no, we had a good time though. That's for sure.
yes, we did.
Absolutely.
That was an excellent conference. Daniel, that was a superb conference. The people were great. Talking to a lot of the people up there, and a lot of the people that actually came in actually showed their Bigfoot evidence and everything. The people that we didn't even know.
Oh yeah.
So what made it so perfect, I want to say, because there's some people out there that had their doubts about Bigfoot, and then once they left, that they actually came up there and had a little. Well, you know what? I guess that these guys are really truly have something going on, because I mean, there's so many different states that are basically seeing the same thing, and so many people experience these certain things. How can these people be wrong?
Oh yeah. Well, I've had like a couple people come up to me throughout the middle of the event, and right at the very end, when everybody was leaving, and I was over there talking with Brian Ingram, who does the cartoon art, and I was sitting there while he was doing my picture, and I had people coming up to me because I couldn't move. I had to stay there while he was doing my face picture or something. So I had like 2 different ladies come up to me, and one at a time though. But they were like, "This was amazing." I was like, it made me feel so good, like
Right.
I was like, man, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the thing is putting it together, trying to make sure everything is going right, the audio, all the equipment. And, I mean, because it started that Friday night before we had, that Friday evening, we were all supposed to get together and go out in the woods with Fred, and me and Zach. Zach stayed there with me because I had, some of the other speakers came in a little earlier, and they wanted to make sure their equipment was going to work. And shoot, that Friday evening was it was very chaotic, and then finally we got everything together. We got to go back home, and then at night we had to come pick you up. And so it
Right.
was a lot of running around prior to
Oh, sure.
before we had to come get you.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it was something else. And then man, I don't know how we did it because man, we were so excited after we picked you up. I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh
we
yeah.
were up we were up chatting, and then we had to get up at 5, 6 o'clock, go meet up with everybody.
Yeah, that's
It-
correct.
yeah, so it was crazy because I know when I got there, whenever the first day, I don't know, I guess my heart was on overload because it was like, you know, I
Oh yeah.
didn't have much sleep, but nervous, make sure everything was going well, and sure enough, everything eventually smoothed out, and I started feeling better throughout the day. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, everything worked out great, and so hopefully this year it does the same thing too, because it's much headache and aggravation. It is, it seems like in the end, it's definitely all worth it though. To bring
Exactly.
everybody together and because like I was telling the guys earlier, I've had when I had time to stay at my booth, when I wasn't running around, I had people coming by with their family, couples with their little kids, and on a couple different occasions, I had kids come by with their parents, and it's
Right.
weird because it's like the parents were getting the kids to ask the questions, it's like,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
which was cool. I was all about that, I was like, all right, but when I'm responding to the question, I'm trying to keep it simple, like the kids asking, but in my mind, I know it's the parents that want to know, so I'm actually interacting with them, trying to keep contact with a little child that's asking the question, so
Right.
you know, so but it was pretty good. And then throughout, you had a couple that came in later that or heard about the event at the last minute, and then I had people sharing stuff like this one guy, him and his wife and his two young girls. This guy was a hunter. He's been out in the woods, and he shared a couple things, and he said, "Well, I've heard these sounds, and I never knew what they were. They didn't sound like any animal I've ever heard. And I've been out in the woods and heard banging and knocks on trees." I don't know what that was.
Right.
So I said, hearing little things like that, it's awesome. So
Right.
so
It's so when I went out there and actually showed the photos of that hut that a friend of mine actually captured, and actually showed it to the individuals and everything like that, and they were like in awe with it because, and I told them, hey, he goes, this is a hut that actually Bigfoot made, and this is the way it was, and this is and it showed them all different stages of the hut, and they were totally fascinated with it. And there was actually people that actually had the booth that had the patty, that had the film on, and they were so intrigued with it. And again, with the person that actually had the only thing that he asked when I got the photos down here over there to Virginia was for nobody not to photograph them or anything like that. For me just to show them, and that would be it. But there were a lot of people that was really fascinated with it by the way it was made, by what was actually inside of it, and nobody has actually seen a structure like that before. So
yeah, it was very interesting.
very.
And a lot of interactions. It was very informative. So, but yeah, I hope I hope everything works that way this year too, because I know there's going to be a lot of people that plan on attending that want to share stories. And one of the things for those who know Mike Patterson, he's been on here a time or two with us, which he's formerly known as Blue Ridge Bigfoot, but he's actually completely changed that name. Part of it has something to do with YouTube or messed up his channel. But anyway, he goes by Bigfoot's World in this, and he's pretty much starting all over. And he's also actually one of my sponsors, and he will be setting up a table there because everyone who's follows his YouTube channel, he always shared people's stories, or he had interviews with people and letting them tell their story. He's going to actually be set up there. He's going to have a table set up, and anybody that wants to share a story, they could work that information out with him. They could share it then and there. Maybe schedule it. They may be scheduling a time where they could do an actual interview. So yeah, that's going to be good. Because while he's gathering stories and information, he's gonna take notes and information for if they want their sighting investigated, that's going to be a plus on us too. So we're going to be gathering data, reports, location, anything if they're willing to. So for us to investigate too. So
Right.
that's going to be awesome. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I know people be cross conversating with everybody, and so um as far as this year, our MC for the year, last year we had Zach.
Right.
Zach was our MC and announcer, which actually this year he's actually one of our speakers. So the MC for the event is going to be me. So I'll be getting up there. I'll be announcing everybody, and then in between speakers, I'll be doing some talks and discussions. So because we're going to make sure we're going to try to give more of a break in between speakers this year. We don't have a large list of speakers because I'm trying to allow more time in between, so that way people could have more interaction time with everybody. And so hopefully that works out the way I like to. And then we have a week-long camping expedition following the event. So anybody's welcome to that. I was actually had an email earlier from a lady asking how much that cost, which I said, well, I'm not charging for the expedition because it shouldn't cost nothing to go out in the woods and enjoy yourself. So
Right.
and I definitely want, for anybody that's fairly new into it, I want them to experience nature for itself. I want to be able to. I'll be glad to point things out and share things with them. Teaching them about the area and what I know about the area, and so and hopefully people will have something to share afterwards. Because the last time we had a group expedition, well, our last one was actually, what was it, 2017. We didn't have one in 18. I mean, I've done some camping, but I didn't actually have a group expedition. But our last one was actually 2017, where we had a little experiences out there, some tree knocks and vocals. But the last major one that which a lot of us still talk about today, is the one that happened back in 2014. Um, when we go out there in the woods, we always hope for something super extraordinary to happen. You can't count on it, but if it happens, that's a plus right there. It's not guaranteed to happen, but it's something that we hope to happen. Um, so I don't know. Maybe everybody that does come out might have a story to tell when they leave. So regardless, if they enjoyed themselves, fellowshipping with others, getting to know new people, all that good stuff. Um, so yeah, we'll definitely have to see how it goes.
Yeah, for that, when I went out there and to the area that you were at,
Yeah.
I was pretty. What I normally what I did was I actually studied the terrain pretty well.
Right.
And is studying the grounds and studying the food supplies and studying the water sources and everything like that. And so that's one thing that really fascinated me. And then so when there were a lot of river stones out there, and there's where a lot of your rock tappings to me would occur. Uh,
Right. Right.
you had a lot of berries that were out there, a lot of big old roots that not too many people were familiarized with that were actually there in your spot.
Yeah.
Uh, and the thing was is that what gets me was there were so many pine needles out there, and so how difficult it is to actually get a track from there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's areas around there when you see an impression out there and you think it might be a track.
Mhm.
That's when a lot of times, even in the leaves will too. Because if you would actually walk behind the camp, you'll see how coated the ground is, full of leaves,
Right,
and because the ground has got a full blanket of leaves back there.
right,
Now, don't get me wrong. I have seen some really nice, impressive tracks in the leaves. But the pine, if you're walking in the areas, but pine litter on the ground, and that's the only
right,
thing that's covering the ground.
right,
That one there, I've actually found some very impressive tracks that way.
right,
Man, that looks like that could be a track. So
right,
carefully, if the pines are the needles are not really stuck there, I'll
right,
carefully rake them away or lift them up and then sure enough, behold, I've actually found a fairly detailed looking track with the whole shape of the foot, toes. I
Right.
mean, it blew my mind. I've actually come across it a couple different times, but
Right.
and then again, sometimes when you think this it's track, you'll move it away. It's like, this is probably just like a dip in the ground, something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, but it's a chance I take removing the leaf litter or the pine litter just to see what the actual detail really is underneath all that.
Right.
So,
And then you also have dealing with those big old trees and everything like that. You have a lot of shadows.
oh yeah,
You have
absolutely,
so much shadows, and there's sometimes also too when the leaves move a certain way, or the wind blows a certain way, you could actually see something moving in the shadows, and you could actually think that they could possibly be something there. But once you look at it real closely, then you can determine that it's not. It's actually the movement of the trees and the shadows and everything like that. You
oh
know,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's so easy to trick the mind. That's
now
why, that's why as a researcher, again, study your, you have to be an expert on your terrain, because I mean, just the slightest little thing could just let your mind go wild. But
right,
again, as a researcher, I ain't saying that I'm the best whatever or whatever, but again, you have to know your terrain before you can call anything, exactly what it is.
right,
I mean, there's so many times that I can come up there and debunk a lot of things. Oh, it's not a Bigfoot or whatever, whatever, and if I'm not 100% sure, when in doubt, throw it out.
absolutely, I agree.
That's what makes us who we are. That's what
Oh
makes a
yeah.
good researcher a good researcher.
Now another thing too, when you were when we brought you to this spot, there's actually other little creeks and streams that were right around there that weren't quite visible to the eye, like right across. If we walk outside of that camp spot, and if you walk through the woods, go across the forest road, and if you go through that the forest right there, it's real thick in there. But
Uh-huh.
once you get behind there, there's like, well, the deer are heavily populated right across there, and
Wow.
that's actually where we had our encounter back in 2014. But if you go behind the thick stuff, there's actually, it looks like, I swear to you, it looks like there's almost like walkways, like where you could tell it's like a game trail. Like if you're familiar with a regular game trail like a deer makes, where it's
Right.
like a well beaten down path, or looking at a cow pasture field where the deer travel and wear out the ground. That's actually what it's like behind there, but wider. So
Right.
and then just when there you got a nice flowing creek right there. That one there, it flows. That's where I get my water to make my coffee and cook. Because there's one that was close on the edge of the camp there, which usually a lot of times that floods and becomes stagnant over a while because it doesn't really flow nowhere. But then you got the main river that the other river. You got the river that runs into the lake too. That joins. It almost like the creek I was just telling you about. That one and the main river, they actually almost run into each other like a Y, and
Right.
then run into the lake. So those are just a couple that are right in the area. So there's plenty of water source, plenty of food sources there.
Oh yeah.
Uh, shoot, the owls alone out there, they have plenty to feed on because the rabbits, there's tons of rabbits around there.
Right.
And I guess between the owls, the coyotes, and the bobcat that are around there, they love feeding on the rabbits. But I've heard rabbits being taken by some kind of predator at night right behind the camp, which is crazy because like you're wondering what the hell is doing that.
Right.
It's a rabbit, but what's taking it?
Right. See,
you know.
and when I was out there, and Lil taught me something about the stuff out there, and called creek crawling, they call it. And so you go down over in these creeks, and you tip over rocks, and find the salamanders that are actually underneath those rocks. And right down there is another form of protein. So even though there's no frogs down over there, or once in a while, if it's rare down there to see one, but there's definitely salamanders in there as soon as you tip over a rock. And I was
Right.
trying to figure out what kind of food supply that you actually had down So I thought that was pretty fascinating. So again, there's sometimes you got to think outside the box to go see what other little small little creatures that are out there that could actually make a little morsel for after for looking after what we're actually looking for. So
Right.
mhm.
Absolutely.
Hey, Baltimore.
Yes.
I gotta inform you. You're probably thinking, what the heck is this thing here? This
Uh-huh.
is somebody used to make videos saying that they seen Dogman. So this is Fred, and he's a Dogman.
Yeah. I had a strange phone call one day, and there's sometimes that people would call me, and I wouldn't even know who the hell they are. But we had a conversation about Bigfoot. And what it was, and the subject was magnificent. Let me tell you, he knew his stuff, and he came up there and he was saying that there's three types of that there were like three types of Bigfoots out there. And then so one of them actually one of these certain Bigfoots actually had a snout like a dog. And there was one
Ah.
type of Bigfoot, and there was another type of Bigfoot that was basically like your prehistoric man looking. And then you had another one that was basically your face covered and everything like that. And then it was the conversation just fascinated me. And then but that would so that's one thing. And then what was wild about this conversation, and that's one thing that stood out on me, was the snout of the dog man. And then if there is one certain, it's like it's man has there's a whole bunch of different types of man out there. You have your Chinese man, you got your black man, you got your white man, you got all these different types of men. And there's one thing that really separates these certain men from each other, either the color of their skin or whatever. But there are these three types of Bigfoots out there. Here's some of them that have a snout. Here's your typical dog man, but it's basically the same species. And then I've actually heard some of them was seen with a tail, and I never heard of when this man talked to me, he never said anything about a tail. So what really fascinated me about it was the facial features of the Bigfoot, the one certain type of Bigfoot that actually had that snout. And basically, what everybody says it's a dog man, but it's actually another species of Bigfoot that is actually has a snout.
Hmm. Yeah. I know some people. I'm not going to really get into all of that right now, but I know some people believe there's different types of Bigfoot. And when I say different types of Bigfoot, they're usually related, not related, but compared to like our known primates. Like, for example, a Bigfoot that looks like it may have a snout protruding from its face would most likely be like around the baboon type. Yeah, because the baboon, it's got more of a canine snout. The very canine, got the big teeth. Um, I don't know. That's what I've come to think. Then again, you were talking about like you said we have different humans of different variety of different uh bloodlines, like you got Asian and whatever, and African or whatever you may have. So then you may have the Sasquatch that looks more man like the Neanderthal, but with their parents. So yeah, that would make sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, look at all these. We have a lot of people that actually born with birth defects.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
what. Who's not to say that Bigfoot? Some of the Bigfoots do have birth defects. And once they see it, they see it totally different than some of them. I don't know. I'm not an expert. Maybe some of them have bigger noses than everybody else, but
Yeah.
everything depends upon their genetics and what they're made out of. So,
Right. Absolutely.
mhm.
Um, trying to think. Tell you what, we're actually just hit 3 hours. We're on the 3 hour
Wow.
mark. Yeah, yeah.
Whoop,
So
whoop.
actually, yeah, this is actually we haven't been on. Well, we've been on this long before. It's just been a while. So
I know, I'm
Yeah.
getting tired already.
You haven't been on 3 hours.
I haven't been doing 3 hours. I
well,
was
we
in the
were.
last minute.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
what did I miss?
quite a bit
You better
after.
go back and watch the other 2 hours, dude.
Well, the funny thing is, I was, we were actually getting ready to come to a close, and then when I saw you jump on, I was like, I didn't want to just up and close it, end it right there. I was like, let's give Baltimore some time here. So, um, but yeah, we've had actually a really great discussion and discussed quite a bit and went over quite a bit, and so um, with that being said, um, so hold on, I made a few. I want to look at something on the live chat. I've been watching. I've been trying to follow the live chat, and I know you have too, Nikki.
Yeah.
The geologist. I've been watching his comments, and he said my channel is here. I made a few videos about how Patterson was a horrible person and an obvious scam. Oh yeah, I actually made that statement to a lady earlier who asked me, "Oh, have you ever watched on Sasquatch Ontario?" I said, "Yeah, he's been proven to be a hoaxer." I said, "I don't give him much attention at all." So,
Oh, he's talking about Patterson-Gimlin.
oh, okay. Oh, that Patterson.
Mike
Okay, I thought you were
Patterson.
talking about
Yeah.
Sasquatch Ontario. I was like, yeah, I don't pay no mind to that.
No, that's a hoax, guys. Okay, that whole flower, Mike, that was all a fake. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep. Big time
but
fake.
The property owner's son already confessed to doing the whole spiel, and he had the video out there and how he did it. The eye that he showed on there was a picture of a fish eye. And they showed the fish it came from, and it was identical. And it was some of those videos have all been taken down. Anyway, that's not what geologist is talking about. He's talking about the
oh,
Patterson-Gimlin.
gotcha. Yeah, I seen some of that earlier. I was trying to keep up with it, um, but I mean, he does have a valid point. But I don't, he's talking about wanting to kill one, which the thing is, I don't believe in killing one, but I do believe that we do need a body. And that's a sad truth. We do need a body. If we're gonna come up with all these alleged samples and they're coming up as something, you do need a solid specimen to compare it to
Oh,
actually classify or give it an official label.
Uh,
So
I got something to say dealing with that, Daniel. When I saw mine,
yeah,
and, if I would have had a rifle, if I would have had a 30-30 or a 30-06 or whatever, even it looked so much like a human, and the thing is, if you would actually if I would actually shoot it, if I would actually have shot it, again, it goes a number one, again, if I what would happen if I would have made a mistake and shot somebody in a ghillie suit, or
right,
I
right,
would have, but the thing is, I know what I saw. And
yeah,
even when they talk about the fog monster, when that video was showing, what's that guy's name? Uh, anyway, so he went up there, and he had a shotgun, and he changed his shotgun shells to double out buck, and because it was so close, and he would have taken it. He goes, what would have happened if he would have made a mistake and shot a man? But the thing
yeah,
is, again, it's like I don't. Me personally, if I would, if I it was out there in the woods and everything like that, if I would see it again, if I had the gun or whatever, I would not have shot. So
yeah.
just to
Uh,
just to let's say, for example, Daniel, again, let's say, for example, that there were six of these species left around. So why do I have to kill this animal in order for me to prove to you that it was real?
right. Yeah, there's a lot of factors that we do need to look at in a situation like that. Like you just stated that very clearly too. What could have happened if it was a man in a suit? The other thing is, what happens if it wasn't? It was actually a real Sasquatch. And what kind of publicity would that put on you, and what kind of trouble could that cause you
Exactly.
with whatever regardless of it be the law, government, whatever it may fall under. I mean, there's a situation. It'll create a situation, but we don't know what.
Exactly.
And then if you go and kill one and say, "Yep, all you're on record," and yep, all the tree huggers and everyone else, they're gonna hate you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So I mean, yeah, you'll be labeled, an outcast. You don't want none of that. So,
Right.
but so
It's like who is it, Richter, that actually claimed that he shot one or killed one in San Antonio.
yeah,
And so again, it's like and I mean that's crazy and insane. And I've actually seen photos of that thing there, and it was it was stupid actually. So
right. Hmm. Absolutely. Now I'll be honest with
What
you.
are you
If I
talking
was,
about, Rick Dyer now?
there you go, Rick Dyer. That's his name.
Oh yeah, but he said that was fake. Matter of fact, he gave his suit away and everything, the Bigfoot away.
yeah, I think
And
he's sold it.
Nikki, and it comes down to also about this fake stuff that he actually did down there. And oh, that's fake. All that's fake. And when we're trying to come out of it, when we're trying to show people that it's actually real, and the majority, oh, that's fake. He goes, BS. He goes, because there's so many people that have actually seen it, in the 1800s, 1925, 1924, all these other years, so, we know what we actually saw. And it
Yeah.
comes to this little person, little pig squeak that comes out there saying, just to get publicity, I think that's BS,
Yeah.
and it gives us researchers a bad name. So why are you trying to find something that is fake?
Well.
And these are the people that when they come up there and they start hoaxing and stuff like that and start talking about stuff that they don't even know what they're talking about. They should
Hmm.
just quit when they have a chance.
Well, for the record, Rick Dyer, he does not believe in Bigfoot. He denies it. He says they do not exist. So it was a big joke to him, and on top of that, it was a big money scam. Because out of his last hoax, for those who don't know, Rick Dyer, uh, he made over $50,000 off that scam.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, $50,000 because he was charging people so much to come in and view it inside his trailer that he had on this inside. So, yep. People, I remember people were loving it. People were praising it. They're like, yeah, we got a body. We finally got it. It's gonna be proof. There was a big lineup of us, a whole group of us that were sitting back trying to tell people stop believing it. Don't go for it. Leave it alone. It's a joke. Because a lot of us looked at his history. He had a history of hoaxing, but he actually pulled off a big scam.
Yeah.
And
Well, look at the Georgia one, the freezer, the Bigfoot in the freezer. That was him too,
mm,
you know. And then he did the Hank thing, and he
yeah,
should, So, but he's done. I mean, he's already out of the Bigfoot thing, and now he's doing his car thing. So,
yeah. Chubbs on the live chat was asking about Justice Smeha, asking if he's still on the table or proven false. As far as I
oh,
know, that didn't get proven either way. I think, in my opinion, is just basically a story he's telling.
yeah.
So, so, but
It's
so
got me thinking about that little boy. Could that be a scam coming up? Because maybe I, that's got my head spinning, man. Because I'm trying to think. Everybody's coming up with a scam to try to get money. I wonder if these people maybe trying to scam. I don't know.
No, I don't
nah,
think so.
I don't see that as a scam because in the
They
Bigfoot
wouldn't leave their
community,
kid out there for days.
yeah, exactly. Well, the other point is too, the little boy. They made a statement where the boy said it was a bear, but I mean, what are they going to do? Is they're not? I don't think they're trying to look for any money out of the bear. you know. So for,
I mean, to me, it's a what's a 3-year-old little kid, you know, know about, especially when they don't talk too much about big. I don't know what the family thing is, but if they don't talk about Bigfoot or anything like that, if something big and hairy, shows up like that, and what is the very first thing that he's going to think of? A bear. So I
right,
don't think that I don't think that he was coached. I don't think that I haven't seen the whole thing of it, but if you think about yourself as a 3-year-old little kid, if you have a 3-year-old son or 3-year-old little daughter, and you come up there and actually think, what is in their vocabulary, and
right,
there's sometimes, and it's again like teaching. When Lil and I go to classrooms all the time, and we teach kids, we teach from real tall, from the tots to to third graders, fifth graders, or whatever. And then so we have to get to you'll be lucky to get the expansion of the little like the 3-year-olds, the 4-year-olds. If you can get their mindset for around 10, 15 minutes, you have you have done your job. The older
right,
the kid, the longer their expansion thing is dealing with their minds, and the more stuff that you could do with them.
right.
And then once you get to a college or whatever, you can talk for hours or whatever. But especially when you come with a little kid like that, 3 or 4 years old, their vocabulary is small.
Yeah, very
They're
limited.
just going to tell you about their experiences, what happened to them out there, and they're going to give you, the best way they can as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense because well, I have a blog. When it came to this story about the little boy who went missing for a couple of days, and when they found him, he told his mom, "I was with the bear, mom." And like I mentioned in my blog, could a 3-year-old child not have the knowledge of or the awareness of what a Sasquatch even is? Could he be insinuating that a hairy biped be a bear, as we believe that Sasquatch has a great level of intelligence, et cetera, et cetera? So hey, maybe he was with a bear, but there's a lot of factors that point that don't add up to that, for a number of reasons. But hey, and then the note that the policeman pulled him out of the brushes. He was tangled in some brush. So
Right. And also, too, Daniel, something else to think about too. If it comes to dealing with a bear,
yeah,
and you pretty well know about bears because we don't have any bears here in South Texas.
right,
Because we know their characteristics dealing with a bear. But the thing is also too, it was dealing with a bear and everything like that type deal, and that would have killed that would have killed anybody.
yeah,
So the thing is, again, with not even a scratch or anything like that, or anything like that with a small little child, if he's hanging around with a bear, the A number one, he could have been a morsel for this animal,
yeah,
but it wasn't. And the thing is, again, you have to think about the characteristics of the bear. If why didn't the bear hurt the little kid or whatever? Because there's sometimes too wild animals are wild animals. They have their own mentality, just like pit bulls. They could be as sweet as can be in one minute and then turn around you the next. So we just don't know the characteristics of that. And then
yeah,
for me, if there was a Bigfoot involved, if there was a Bigfoot involved, and if there was a child involved, I'm thinking that more or less that it would be more protected of the child or try to help the child just a little bit more in order for him to come home. So that's my opinion.
oh yeah. Well, as I'll bring it up real quick, as we spoke of earlier, kind of opposite of that. This took place in North Carolina, and between North Carolina up, mainly here on the East Coast, we have the North American black bear, and just from my observations and my knowledge of black bears alone, they're actually very skittish. They don't like to. They usually tend to avoid humans at all costs, because usually they'll smell you before you even get to see them, and they'll usually go away. Say even if that little boy was crying and the bear heard that, the boy that's going to give a signal for the bear to, I'm out of here. That's a human. I don't want nothing to do with that. Um, so that's just one statement. another individual, for those who know Thomas Markham, he knows a particular area. He made a statement where he says bears haven't been really seen in that particular location for over 30 something years. But that there doesn't really actually mean nothing. But it's if that's true, then that could also almost kind of eliminate the possibility of a bear. But so, but I don't know.
Also too, Daniel. I don't know why this is coming to my head and whatever. Is like if a baby cries in the woods, if a child would cry in the woods, if it's let's say for example, I'm just throwing it out there, just hypothetically speaking, blah blah blah. Say it's a bear talking, I don't care, whatever. But let's say for example, if it's a female squatch, for example, and hears the baby crying, I'm thinking that maybe that she would be more attached to the child. It's like if any female would actually hear a baby crying or whatever, I think it would be more attached to try to find out where the source is coming from, in order for them to help the child. And I believe men would do that as well. But if there's a child crying in the woods like that, and I'm pretty sure that he was, for me personally, it would be more. For me, it's let's say, for example, if a female would actually have found it because
Yeah,
of the child crying. You know.
yeah. So I don't know. It's right now at this point. I mean, I know I'm not alone in wanting to think this, but it's a lot. I would like to think that a Sasquatch probably took care of him and
Yeah.
protected him. Um, so that's a very good possibility. Of course, those of us, me, you, everybody here on the panel, and all the others in the Bigfoot community. Yeah, Bigfoot. The eliminate a scam. I don't see no scam in this. It's just the thing is, Sasquatch was nowhere mentioned in this story, other than those of us who learned about the story and started sharing it in our own blog. Like I'm just one of a few. I know there's several others that shared a story in their Bigfoot blogs, and some of them had discussions on this just like we have. And so there's a lot of others that believe the possibility and look at different factors that could eliminate a bear and maybe put a Sasquatch in play in this. But so yeah, again, there's like what we mentioned, 3-year-old little boy has a limited vocabulary. Yeah, he's a little 3-year-old boy. He's a hairy biped creature. His limitation on what certain creatures are. Yeah, I could see him. I could easily see him calling it a bear, especially if it was black.
Yeah.
Because a lot of Sasquatches are seen with black hair or fur.
Exactly.
So that's another good possibility. Maybe that Sasquatch was on all fours. Who knows? Maybe gave him a ride. Like give him a piggyback ride, or maybe carried him like a. I don't know. We don't know. So, but yeah, like Jimmy Blanton said, we'll never know the truth when this kid gets older and can remember. Then maybe he could shed a light on what happened, if he remembers. Which, yeah, like that's another thing. He's 3 years old right now. I'm looking back when I was 3 years old. I don't remember nothing unless my parents tell me what I did or what happened then. I can
You
remember
know,
more around 5-6 years old and from there forward. But,
also too, Daniel, is that also again is I don't know, I just explain it like this because the thing is again, here's this kid because I really haven't heard the whole story or anything like that, but I'm
yeah,
gonna say it like this: being lost in the woods, especially an adult, it does something to you. Especially being lost in the woods, 35, 25, whatever, it does something to you when you're lost in those woods. And then I just can imagine how stressful it was for this little boy being lost in the woods for this period of time, no food, no nothing. He has probably went through so much trauma out there
mm,
where he could actually have a block of some sort. And the only positive thing that ever happened to this kid while he was out there was this bear.
yeah,
So later on, he might something might happen to him where he could at least maybe juggle something in his mind that the bear did.
Right.
Did the bear bring him? Did the bear bring him some food? Did the bear give him water? And there's something. That stuff hasn't brought it, anything like that out yet. How
Yeah.
can this kid survive this long without food and water?
Right.
So,
Well, and the other thing is too, real quick, knowing that this happened in North Carolina, um, I've heard stories out of people shared with me from out of North Carolina, even within this past year or so. Not to mention those who work that area in Bigfoot research that has actually shared on numerous reports. So, North Carolina seems like it's a very heavily active area. It seems like it's a hot spot. I'll put it that way. It's a hot spot. There's been a lot of sightings from a lot of sources, and so there's another factor that could say, hey, maybe it was a Bigfoot. But again, as much as we want to believe it was, we really don't know. So
right.
But
Now,
so
ain't the lizard man down there too?
I don't know. That's one cryptid I don't really pay any attention to. I've never really heard really much of anything about that.
I think that was in South Carolina. I'd have to search that. I could do that now.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. If you look into that, maybe save that for a later date.
Sure.
Because we definitely need to get off here. It's
we're definitely gonna be going up 4 hours now.
Yeah, yeah. I got to go to work tomorrow, so I work my second job on weekends. So,
Nick, it's good seeing y'all. So,
absolutely.
Good to see you guys too.
Yep. Ready, Gonzo? All right.
Well, Nikki, you have a good night. Nikki's muted though. All right.
Good night.
So, she's always talking when it's muted, so that's all good.
Shit, you didn't hear nothing I said, did you? No, I'm just kidding.
No. And everybody on the live chat, if you're not subscribed, definitely appreciate your subscription, because when we go live every Friday night, you'll be alerted to our live shows and open discussions. Every Friday night, we are actually going to be doing it's not just going to be a Bigfoot chat, it'll be our weekly Squatch Talk roundtable. So now when we get into talking about different subjects and maybe different happenings. So, and then also one thing new I also been doing is my daily Squatch Talk. Squatch thought of the day. So I've been doing that. I have 3 of them uploaded so far, where I share my opinion and throw a little research in there. So Dave, definitely check that out. And thank you guys for interacting. We love every last single one of you, and it's been a great time, great discussion. Baltimore, I'm glad you made it on, Baltimore.
Yes.
Baltimore, just real quick, it says Lee County, South Carolina, lizard man.
Wait.
Cool.
Oh,
What
Nikki
does
does
that mean? What is that? I can't remember what who's talking about. Chocolate or raccoon?
Oh no! Remember, it's something you were talking about. It said, "Don't you think the Bigfoot took the chocolate, not the raccoon?" Remember? Didn't you say squirrel? It was something about squirrels or something before, wasn't it? Took the chocolate. It was something
that was like a long time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they're picking on you. Yeah, people like picking on you about whatever that's about.
That's a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sure the raccoon took the chocolate.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for a great show. We had a good time. We had some laughs. That's what we love to do here. So, and we keep it real and serious, but again, we definitely love a good time. So,
Good night, guys.
Yeah, you guys keep it squatchy. Until next time, everybody.